guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Okay, welcome back everyone. We're live with Anonymous Bites Back. And today we have Jeremy Hammond as a subject and censorship on YouTube. That's something we also have to talk about. If you're listening to this, please share the stream around because we're all dealing with censorship, not just on YouTube, but also on Twitter. And to avoid shadow bans, please do a quote tweet. And remember, we're also on Rockfin now, and you can find us on Rockfin at Solo Newsday. You can just type it there.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I am right now on the Jeremy Hammond Support Crew's Twitter page, watching Jeremy get rid of his ankle monitor. Yeah. Jeremy Hammond, after almost a decade in prison and 100 days in a halfway house, has his walking papers. I am like, this is like the freaking, probably the best news that I've had like all week, and to be perfectly honest, it was kind of a crap day. So seeing this come across my news feed, hell yeah, dude. So I'll read off the statement real quick. 9 years to the day, Jeremy is now free from the Bureau of Prisons. Thanks for all the support over the years. This Twitter will continue to be utilized by the support crew to amplify ongoings related to activism, anti-fascism, and prison abolition. Lovely picture of the release, paperwork being held up by a free Jeremy Hammond, and then video of at the halfway house getting the ankle shackle chopped off, manufactured by the BI Incorporated, owned by Geo, a private prison corporation. Jeremy hacked one time in 2011. What a relief. It used to yell, "Call your officer now." The bracelet did. The ankle bracelet did. Yelled, "Call your officer now." Jeremy still faces 3 years of supervised release with special conditions prohibiting encryption, anonymity software like Tor, and from involvement or contact with any civil disobedience organizations. His phone and computer also must run monitoring software. So,
those are things you can always expect, right? But the good news is he's free after 9 years. And so he could have been out earlier, but they asked him to sell out Julian, right? To testify against you,
Yeah.
and he refused, and that's why they kept him longer. Just to
Yeah.
remind people of that, that the guy actually, even after all these years, was not willing to sell out anyone, and that he always kept being loyal to the cause.
Yeah, the statement that he released when he got basically like hauled out of the Oklahoma State Pen and sent to the Alexandria Detention Center so that they could, put the squeeze on him to get him to go roll over at in front of the WikiLeaks grand jury. Same spot where Chelsea Manning was held as well. He released a statement, and it's fucking epic, and I think I want to go find it because it's totally worth reading. Is this it?
Yeah. I'm just sharing the stream around a bit. Yeah. Yeah, well. Yeah, this in the chat.
Here we go.
It's funny. Probably in the chat, like the thing, like after 10 years, if has the people mounting a computer, probably going to see a lot of porn. Yeah, well, you're in the jail that long, you're allowed to watch some porn. I mean, yeah. That's the thing, right? In 10 years, the best years of your life. I mean, he missed a lot of time, so it's time for him to make up for that.
So this was something we got to read through, we got to read out loud through a microphone at the Alexandria Detention Center a couple of weeks before the WikiLeaks grand jury was dismissed. And this was the 24th or 25th of February last year that we were there. And then it was the 10th or the 11th or something like that of March that the grand jury was dismissed. But this statement is fucking epic. And keep in mind that when this was written, it was October of 2019. So it had already been over 7 years at that point that he had been incarcerated. He says, as many of you know, I was just a few months away from my scheduled release from federal prison when I was unexpectedly dragged in chains and planes to this raggedy detention center in Alexandria, Virginia. I am outraged that the government is threatening additional jail time if I do not cooperate with their grand jury investigation. Their draconian intimidation tactics could never coerce me into betraying my comrades or my principles. In the spirit of resistance and with great contempt for their system, I am choosing silence over freedom. I am fully prepared for the consequences of my decision, just as I had been each and every time I was faced with similar choices before. Long ago, when I realized that government and capitalism were too hopelessly corrupt and unjust to be reformed through legal or electoral means, I chose to engage in civil disobedience and direct action. I knew then that my actions could land me behind bars, yet I fought on anyway. After a dozen arrests and even a prior federal prison sentence for hacking, I chose once again to use my computer skills to attack the systems of the rich and powerful as part of the anonymous federal case I am doing time for today. When I pled guilty, I took responsibility for my actions and my actions alone. I never agreed to be debriefed or testify in any way, unlike the government's informant, Hector Monsegur, aka Sabu, whose reward was 1 year of probation while I received the maximum sentence allowable by law. It was a painful choice, but 10 years in their dungeons was the price I was willing to pay so I could maintain my integrity. I have never regretted my choices the entire time I've been incarcerated, and having seen and experienced firsthand the abuses and inherent injustice of the prison industrial complex, my commitment to revolution and abolition has only become more deeply entrenched. Now, after 7.5 years of paying my debt to society, the government seeks to punish me further with this vindictive, politically motivated legal maneuver to delay my release, knowing full well that I would never cooperate with their witch hunt. I am opposed to all grand juries, but I am opposed to this one in particular because it is part of the government's ongoing war on free speech, journalists, and whistleblowers. I am insulted that those in power claim that I have an obligation that every citizen owes to his government to testify. As an anarchist, I am not part of their social contract and do not recognize the legitimacy of their laws in courts. Instead, I believe in a Dr. Martin Luther King quote that I had taped to the wall of my prison cell for years. One has an obligation to disobey unjust laws. It is difficult to view any of this government's laws as just when they are so selectively enforced and when the government turns a blind eye to its own misconduct that is on display every day that Trump is in the White House. In my case, the government, through its informant Sabu, instigated numerous hacks, asking me to break into governments and companies all over the world. Nearly a decade later, this misconduct remains ignored. The NSA continues to surveil everyone and launch cyber attacks. Trump and his corrupt cronies continue to hold the world hostage to their megalomaniacal imperialist pig whims while simultaneously refusing to comply with subpoenas and inquiries into their vicious abuses of power. Meanwhile, Chelsea Manning and I are doing hard time in this dump for the crime of refusing to allow our spirits to break after serving our sentences for exposing government and corporate corruption. This absurd hypocrisy and desperate ruthlessness reveals a crumbling legal system, a system that has robbed me of the majority of my adult life but could never take my humanity. I will continue to do the right thing, no matter how long it takes. I know how to do the time, and I will never be intimidated by their threats, ever. I refuse.
See, that's a powerful statement, right?
Ain't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's beautiful. It is. That was probably the most beautiful thing that I'd read that year.
What was that? Did you get cut off or?
Huh?
No, it sounded like you were cut off or something, but no, okay.
Oh no. That's the statement.
Yeah, well, everyone can think of that what they want. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's a pretty clear.
I will. I'll post the link to that in the chat.
Yeah.
Dingo, I see you in the chat there. Can we get him on an A for A vigil? No. we can't do that. Because he's got a 3-year tag. And conditional to that, he cannot have any contact with any civil disobedience groups. So we couldn't legally, in good conscience, invite him on Action for Assange or the Free Assange Vigil.
There are some risks involved at this point still, and I mean, like you just said, right, he's under like surveillance still. That's one thing. And he also has to want it, right? He has to want things. I mean, it is up to him. I can tell you that we will reach out to him soon, and we will attempt to get him on ABB. He'll probably be willing to go on, but it is all about, does he consider it safe, right? I mean, that's what it's about. And Otherwise, we'll try to find a safe way. He has to go somewhere where he can safely do it, but I'm not sure what the rules are for him. That he has to be under surveillance and he can't circumvent it in any way. I don't have much knowledge about it. It all depends on him. So yeah. But as soon as it's possible, I am convinced that we will bring him on air with us. So don't worry about that. And then if he wants to, he can of course go to Assange support streams too, right?
I mean, it's entire. I'm not gonna get in the way of him trying to make a media appearance at all. Not. I mean, you technically can't consider Slow News Day, the podcast, a civil disobedience organization. Although I'm sure somebody would be willing to argue that point, I technically don't think we are.
Sparrow Media. Okay, so that's the one. Yeah. Yeah, that's like the exact statement, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I feel like parts of that statement could be read in front of any government building or tech corporation or corporation in general, military defense contractor, every day of the week, and it would be applicable.
The thing is yeah, well, like I said, it shows just like true character to still defend someone like Assange when you already dealt with, well, back then 8.5 years in prison. Now it's 9 years, and to still stand strong. It shows like a true character, and that is what makes him different than many other activists who stand for what they believe in, but being put under pressure. Often they collapse, but he is a very strong character, and that's why I know when he gets back into all of it, he will probably, okay, well, I'm not sure, he will probably stay more on like the legal side of things, but still he will be very strong advocate for human rights and anti-abusive capitalism, right? So, and anti-fascism, which is turning out to be quite the same thing these days. Yeah, and that's also what we wanted to also discuss, right? How these corporate fascists like to censor independent voices. Seems like a good bridge.
Yeah, so earlier today, I was talking to Kit Cabello, who co-hosts Hardlands Media out of Chicago. They started as a radio show like several years ago. I think they still have it. I forgot to ask them. But they got suspended from YouTube for a week, and the reason behind it is really the most, like, we live in a fucking cartoon reason imaginable, because the video that they said violated their community standards for spreading false narratives about the election was titled "Biden is now president. Now how is he going to govern?" That was the title of the video. They gave them a strike. They went on to explain in the email the strike was for denying that Joe Biden was the president. in a video titled "Biden is the President." I'm not making that up. So obviously they're a little upset. But YouTube's trying to kneecap them. They deliberately, back in September, deliberately began self-censoring their content on YouTube because they have a channel on Rockfin. Rockfin does not censor you. And so they would do their censored content on YouTube and tell people, hey, if you want to, hear what we sound like when we're not obeying our tech overlords, come here. And they still got the strike. They played within the lines and they got the strike. They went out of their way to do something they didn't want to do and something that they don't personally believe in, but thought that they would be able to skate on YouTube if they did, and they still got the strike. And Mark, I guess the point I want to make with this is they don't fucking care if you're playing by the rules or not. They don't give a fuck about that. What they care about is making sure that people who dare to wander outside of the allowable parameters of conversation get silenced.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, like we discussed before too, that they want some kind of controlled middle of everything. Like you're either a little to the left of the middle, a little to the right of the middle, and within that bandwide you can say anything you want. As soon as you move out of it, you become a threat. We censored or whatever. Yeah, completely removed.
Well, and God forbid you just show raw video, because they'll remove that too. Ford Fisher got his suspension for raw video from Inauguration Day. Ford Fisher doesn't add commentary, doesn't put his opinion in, and so YouTube's complaint was that the footage isn't properly filtered. There's not somebody explaining what to be afraid of and who to be angry at, I guess. So Ford will be on Slow News Day tomorrow, I think. I'm pretty sure. I don't have that confirmed, but I'm pretty sure. And we'll talk about that. Because this looks like erasing history because it doesn't fit with the narrative that you're trying to sell.
No, exactly. Yeah, that Ford Fisher guy also being censored, but there is more being censored, and right now but I also have the feeling in the case of Heartlands, they didn't remove the entire YouTube, right? The YouTube is still there, or it returned back again.
No, their channel's still there. They can't upload for a week. They can't live stream for a week. When they come back, I don't know if they'll be monetized or not. I don't. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But the second that they do anything remotely, YouTube can just arbitrarily decide to go back in time, find a video they don't like, and yank it. That's the thing.
Yeah, but think of it
doesn't matter. They've already.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They've already pissed them off.
Yeah, but think of it like what they're doing.
And it's.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. It's because of the lag.
Oh no, that's it. The video was from 2 months ago almost that they pulled. So it's not even as if it's something that went wrong in the last couple of videos that they posted. YouTube is literally sending algorithms and people to go find something that they could be remotely offended by or runs up against their censorship trigger words, and it doesn't matter what the context is. It doesn't matter what you're saying about it. If you've already ran up against their little censor gremlin, you're fucked. Which is why we don't do that. It's why we haven't changed anything about our show except for maybe going a little bit harder than we had been, which was already going fucking A hard. And we're not going to bow to YouTube. Like, they're not giving us any love anyway. And it's not like any of our shit's monetized. You can still super chat it. But we're not giving YouTube the luxury of running ads and making money off of the ads without giving us our pittance. So I'm not monetizing any of the content, but you can super chat. That's how we're, and YouTube still takes 40% of that. At any rate, we'll get thrown off. We'll get the channel pulled. We'll wake up one day and it'll be gone. But it'll be because we went out swinging, not because we tried to do what they asked us to do. Which, again, just so we're all clear, it is to repeat bullshit and lies.
Okay, so what I think is that it's not so much the goal to censor them directly. But I think that the goal is just like by keeping Julian Assange locked up, not having his conviction and whatever, and just dragging it on, is that it is a scare tactic, like a warning shot, and make people talk about it, and that they're scared to be like. And this is what you actually want to talk about self-censorship, right? To scare publishers, podcaster, journalists into self-censorship. And they will hit these people like Heartlands or other big podcasts, scare them, give them like 1 or 2 strikes, right? Eventually probably return the monetization, but the scare has already happened. And everyone is going to watch what they're saying. Everyone is going to be in this whole scare situation. And it happened with the right and it happens with the left now, and with all podcasters in general. And we go now into that.
Yeah, no, fuck that. There are other platforms. There are. So, just to give you an idea of how bad YouTube fucks with our show, you're supposed to, when you change platforms, when you go to a new platform, when we went to Rockfin, they told us we would be lucky if we would see 1% of the people that follow the show endorse the show. We would be hella lucky if 5% of our audience from YouTube followed us over to Rockfin.
Yeah.
We're about 1,000 subscribers away from passing YouTube in terms of followers, subscribers to the show.
Yeah, but look already. Look already. You have right now I see 15 people watching on Rockfin, and I see 19 people on YouTube. But YouTube is a platform with 2 billion users, and Rockfin maybe has 10,000 now. I'm not sure how many now, but it's not 2 billion. So there you can already see the difference.
Dude, the platform itself is barely 2 years old. I don't even know if it's 2 years old.
There you can already see the difference, right? Because I know that there are no live shows for anonymous right now on YouTube running at this exact moment. Anonymous is a pretty popular hashtag, pretty popular search query. So it's pretty obvious that YouTube is just censoring this stuff. So, and Rockfin, if it is already on the same, almost, and sometimes it goes over the YouTube even, that is already on the same level or higher with just a few thousand users.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I gotta talk to Josh, but as soon as Odyssey lets us live stream on that platform, I definitely want to live stream ABB over there. We should probably already be live streaming it on DLive. You just don't have the stream key for that. But
we do have a DLive
as many
connected.
platforms as we can get this out on, man. I am all fucking for it. I am.
Yeah, you know, ABB is just like it's collective content, right? Belongs to everyone. You can just do whatever you want with it. Like we don't have any ownerships of anything. So whatever. It's for anons, by anons, for activists. Like we don't care. Like we just do this so people have something to watch, get some knowledge when they need it. So yeah, it's not like copyrighted or something. You know, plenty of people re-upload stuff and do whatever they want with it. I don't care. Yeah. But yeah, no, but that's what you're right at that. That is like you can see these alternative platforms are already on the same level because they don't censor. Like yeah, now I see it 19 on the Rockfin, and we have 21 on the YouTube. So there's only 2 difference. And keep in mind, I've shared this.
All right, well let's go. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube and you've got a Rockfin account, fuck it.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Jenny Butcher says, I wish we could at least see Steve live. I don't know if you want that. But
Aww.
could actually do that.
I mean, I could probably turn my camera on, but we gotta do that through Discord, and it's hella compressed, and it looks like crap. And
Yeah, it does.
just we'll do the next time we have a guest on ABB that we can have video for, Jenny, we'll do that. But
Yeah, we do
the Anons are shy fellas.
Yeah, they are. Just
They are. Well, camera shy.
we'll do Jitsi or something next time. Jitsi. Yeah, I think now Rockfin and YouTube are now equal, all both on 18. So
Oh, and thank you, Sarah Wagner, and thank you, Robert Gilbert, very much.
yeah, but just okay, but
Glory's
just
traveling right now, Sarah. Glory's on the team. I don't know, the team canoe. They're paddling the team canoe back from Vegas. She should be in LA later. And if we're still bullshitting, she might pop in, she might not. She will definitely be on tomorrow. And we're going to have a fuck ton of fun talking to Jared Beck. And if you guys are listening and you don't know who Jared Beck is, he's one of the attorneys that sued the DNC for fraud after the 2016 election. He's an author and just an all-around hell of a fun guy to talk to. And we're going to be talking about the moon landing.
oh yeah, that's interesting. I always love such subjects. It's always great to talk about these philosophies and just have these theories about things. I think Rockfin, I think just jumped over the YouTube, which is like, if you think about it, like I'm sharing it from an account with 73,000 followers, right? The YouTube link.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, like
Yeah.
this is strange to
Yeah.
me.
No, I mean, it's insane. It is that there's equal numbers. I'm seeing 20 and 20.
I did share the Rockfin
and
too,
I
Mark.
know that,
Go ahead.
which actually means that there's one more on the Rockfin, technically, because I'm on the YouTube too, but I can't see, or I don't count on the Rockfin as a viewer, because I'm watching through the stream portal.
Oh yeah. See, yeah, that's but that's insane to me. Like, It doesn't make sense. You know, in the past, when we still streamed on Facebook, this is years ago, you know that it was like there were people commenting below the video on the page, right? And it showed like it had 10 viewers or something, and then you saw below the video, you saw like 25 comments from different people, and they were about what they were seeing in the video. Like they were watching the video live, and they were commenting about it, and there was like 25 people, and the number said 10 people on the video. So it didn't make sense. And with the Facebook, there was like one little extra that other streaming platforms don't have, and that was they have a streaming map, and that is a world map showing all the different streams of Facebook, and then the more viewers you have, the larger your circle is. And the larger your circle is, the more people, of course, are going to click on it. So you get extra viewers, right? But what Facebook did to us was they kept it low, like artificially, while the people below it were replying on it. But they just wanted to keep it low because they didn't want our circle to be big. So, yeah. Disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they hadn't done it, they would probably still be
I
there.
mean, oh, we're chasing people away now, I guess. I don't know. Did we wanna bring in Homeboy?
Oh yeah. If his sound is okay. Oh, I have that guy in DM, by the way, Shady H. You know him too, right? He's talking about parlor hacks, leaked parlor data points to users at police stations. There's like all these users on parlor were actually like at police stations. Yeah, okay, so we can discuss about the Rockfin thing. You had a discussion with Watchman about stuff, right? Before he was in my DMs too about things. That it's on Amazon servers. I'm not too happy about that either. That's it's on the long term. It should get off that Amazon platform because they will censor you in the end if it gets too big. I can already tell you that.
100%. I'm not trying to put all of my eggs in that basket, but by any means, I don't think that.
No,
I don't think that.
I know why they're doing it. I know why we would do it.
That a platform that allows people to talk freely is going to last any more than a few years. No. But I also don't know if there's a server network on the planet that can handle streaming video that can compete with Amazon. And if there is, tell me, and I'll talk to Jaime again. Because it's not like they don't get emails every day from content creators going, can we do something about the Amazon servers?
Yeah, exactly. See, that's it. I knew that was already happening, right? Because of course we all know that, and but Amazon, yeah, that is the quality thing is right. That's why they're so big. They have like this high quality, and they're cheap too for that high quality. And if you're doing large scale streaming, you are going to look at the price and the quality, and but on the long term, if you get a lot of independent content creators, it's going to be a problem. But you just keep backups.
And that's the thing that we as content creators need to encourage to happen is an independent country or an independent, I don't know, fucking confederation of fucking individuals that would get the number of servers required to handle a platform with several thousand content creators live streaming every day. and Rockfin's not there yet with that number of content creators, but it's getting there, and they want to be able to live. The whole reason that this thing started is because it's the dude who had like Float Sports on ESPN, and he wanted to be able to fucking for like, it was supposed to be a sports network, and then he was like, oh fuck, people like stuff other than sports, let me put those creators on here too. But I mean, if you go to Rockfin, initially it was all like MMA and wrestling and shit. Like, they want to be able to live stream that. They want to be able to live stream different fucking wrestling tournaments from like all over the country simultaneously. So if the servers can support that, they'll move their shit there, because I am sure they're sick and tired of hearing from all of us in the free thinking media section of that network every fucking day, or at least a few times a week, going, why can we not get off of Amazon? And this is what they're telling us. So I'm just relating all of that to you guys. They're totally aware of it. As soon as there are servers that can handle that kind of streaming capacity.
Yeah, and to be fair, if you upload content on YouTube, you're uploading to the Google network, which is not better in that sense, right? It is also it collects a lot of data. It is also whatever, but so that's not the biggest issue. But yeah, of course.
No, it's. Yeah. I mean, look, there's some merit. There's merit to that argument in general, because if you're going to be a streaming platform, it's something that you're eventually going to want to think about if you're not already consciously thinking about it. There's a huge difference between the sort of like the kind of traffic that goes through a streaming platform and the kind of traffic that goes through, like, for example, Facebook or Twitter or something like that. You know, like oh, you could or Mastodon. And I'm pretty sure even Mastodon servers are on Amazon. But you could run a basic social media platform off of less servers in another country. You could be much harder cost-wise and quality-wise at this point, and holy Christ, I hope that changes. Please help it change. But you know, that's where it's at right now, and it's fucking shitty. Because people just got used to the convenience or got bullied into going through Amazon.
Yeah. So, but I'm just mentioning it because I saw Watchman posting about it, and now I see Shady Age messaging about it. I just want to talk. I just want to discuss it, right? That people are not going to think like we don't discuss it kind of stuff.
Sleepy Josh is correcting me real quick though. So most Mastodon servers are people's own shit, not necessarily Amazon. It's decentralized, so you get to pick where it goes if you run an instance. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
One big problem is, okay, so you have the biggest cloud providers in the world, and the number one is definitely Amazon. It's the cheapest and has the most capacity. Second, I think, is Microsoft. Well, and Microsoft, is not much better. And then you have Google Cloud, of course. That's also huge. And after that, you're already starting to hit like smaller hosting providers. I know we have a big one in our country. LeaseWeb is pretty big. We'll be able to handle it, but then you have specific servers in Amsterdam. For the rest, if you're looking at a really super large scale, you're going to need like scalable solutions, like have all these different like you have to be able to upscale it instantly, and you need a very much automated cloud solution. And it is sad that Amazon is the biggest, but yeah, they are. And yeah, I would advise people like whatever Rockfin or whatever other platform, maybe next to Amazon, use a second one. then you create an incentive for Amazon to keep you as a customer, knowing that you have an alternative in front of them, and that if they don't treat you well, you switch to the other one completely. But this is just psychological advice.
Yeah.
I know companies, for them it's all about money. I mean, companies like Amazon are not looking to like just kick you for fun. I mean, they have to be pressured. I mean,
Well, it depends on who you are, because Amazon had no problem kicking WikiLeaks. Amazon had no problem going and fucking going after was Parler, right?
yeah, Parler, yeah.
Didn't they just take down Parler? And fucking and then it was Gab that just got hacked. But you know that was the fucking government.
Yeah, and yeah, of course. And
You know, they're like, fuck it, we're hacking Gab. We're putting everybody's shit up on the internet.
yeah, you mean the DDoS leaks and stuff. Yeah, but we all know what is behind all of that. Yeah.
Isn't DDoS leaks kind of shady anyway?
Yeah, well, they also leaked a lot of stuff. Like they posted all these private videos of Julia and stuff, but I didn't make sense to me. So Julia started skateboarding and stuff. Like, well, why would you post that? Like it was
from when he was inside the embassy.
Oh, there you are. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to say.
Hey. What's up?
I figured I would even out the panel a little bit.
Yeah, so we started out with the stuff about Jeremy Hammond, right? I mean, you can maybe give your opinion about that too. I mean, it's a big event, actually positive.
Well, just in general, the amount of people that are being attacked, that are being shut down, that are being censored, it's all kind of coming to roost here all at one time.
I see Sleepy is posting a lot about stuff. It's strange, Sleepy.
Oh, nice.
First, Gap was using the Mastodon script. They changed the Mastodon script a bit to their own liking and stuff, and then, what, about a year or so ago, they switched to a different script, right? I mean, you know that a little better, I think, Sleepy. Something like about a Google thing. But no longer the Mastodon script. They were using the Mastodon script before, because I was actually setting up a Mastodon instance myself, and I could choose between either using the Mastodon script or the Gap script. They were both available, and I chose the Mastodon script, but I could also have installed that other thing, and it was not much different. Yeah.
I'm gonna just keep saying wrong shit till Sleepy Josh gets so fucking angry he jumps on the panel.
You're baiting him into jumping on.
I know you want to. I know you want to.
I see a meme queen coming on though.
I'm gonna jump over and share this out real quick.
I have no clue what we're talking about right now, but
Well, I thought I was coming into Jeremy Hammond discussion, but I guess not.
Oh, I mean, we can circle back, dude. It's the best news that I've heard in quite a while, and I'm still into talking about. And we didn't even really discuss why he was locked up. We've gone into it previously on the show, but for the sake of this occasion, we haven't done it.
Well, go on then, CEO of Scoop Gang.
But I was giving the floor to Terrence here.
Well, go on, Terrence.
I'm not exactly sure, what you guys went over in the beginning, but first, I mean, we have to come to the realization that he has been a target from the very, very, very beginning of, I mean, what most people refer to as hacktivist wars. From his sentencing to post sentencing, to some of the stuff that was going on with the halfway house that they make you go to afterward and all of that. It's been like a non-stop battle and so targeted at him.
Yeah, before you got on, I read out the statement that he issued in October right after they transferred him from Oklahoma to Alexandria Detention Center. And it is one of the most beautifully written things that I saw that year. I'll send it to you. I'm sure I don't know if you've seen it or not. But based on that, he's not in any kind of mood for their bullshit. And will remain not a fan of the U.S. empire.
Well, I mean, that doesn't. I mean, I definitely worry in the way that we say reality winner. Where she stayed pretty strong against the system. That still hasn't kept them from locking her up and trying to destroy her life.
Yeah. No, he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to be extra vigilant in his. He's got 3 years of a tail too.
Well, I mean, there was, I'd say that was where you saw a change from where the idea of white hats, gray hats, black hats, all of that whole mindset kind of disappeared, and you heard people starting to just be referred to as hacktivists. And I think that change you can draw a line directly back to what Jeremy was doing, how he was treated, who he was up against, you know what I mean? The entire, U.S. Imperialist empire, the way that you said it. But you can see a change with his story in how everything's came together now, in how they treat every moment of exposing incriminating information about the government is viewed as hacking, and you see that change right with him.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, look at what they ultimately got him for, and then when you realize that these were FBI orchestrated hacks,
Yeah.
it almost, from that point of view, it looks like narrative management. It looks like a way to control the conversation and change what's allowable in terms of how we view people who are good with computers.
Well, and how dangerous they see being good at computers to be. I mean, I will say that, a lot of these, even some of the operations that aren't directly connected to the government, you're attacking and doing things. I take Miramar right now is what's going on. They've let pretty much all hacking go by and let you advertise that it's being done worldwide. Normally they'd come down on everybody. But since you're effectively doing their bidding for them, they're willing to let it slide.
Yeah.
where normally you would see hacks like that in like always, the last person standing there, they will blame every hack in the last fucking 20 years on that one person.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You'll see some of the arrests that they give to these, and like, if you knew anything about what it takes to get some of this done, right? Like, it would take a lifetime to do one of those hacks, let alone 50.
Mm-hmm.
What's wild to me, yeah, and it's addressed in the statement that Jeremy released back in October of 2019, is that he was given the harshest sentence that the law had on the books at the time for being the the fall guy for what amounts to an FBI operation. But nobody from the FBI faced any consequences for that, and the snitch that they used to coerce Jeremy into this,
Eat a dick, Sabu.
he
Ugh.
he got a year probation, I think, and that was his sentence, and now he's a fucking consultant.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, consultant, I think, is a strong word. I think a puppet would be more the right one. He'll come out and say fucking anything that they tell him to.
Yeah, no, like, if you want to get, a hacktivist to come out and do a freaking, 60-minute interview with CNN or some shit, Sabu is the first guy they're calling, and he's up there chatting shit about how, oh yeah, well, maybe if I was on the right path, I could end up in Silicon Valley with those innovators and shit like that.
Is Sabu on Clubhouse?
I don't know.
Somebody give me a fucking iPhone.
I don't want to be anywhere near that motherfucker. I don't even want to be near enough for you to fucking troll you. Like, that's what it comes down to.
That's how
That's
bad
fair.
it is.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like every
I'm
single
mostly
time,
being funny.
They always put the narrative the exact same. Oh, hacker insider leaks information about bullshit. Fucking Sabu is the next word out of their mouths every single fucking time.
Yeah.
Famous and prolific, formerly with the group Anonymous hacker Hector Monseg. Okay, Sabu. You guys are getting Sabu again. Okay.
Yeah, well, what he did a lot of damage to Anonymous, and that was only because he was actually trusted at first, and you had a lot of contacts in Anonymous, and at some point there were these hacks happening which were at this shady high level, and no one actually understood why this was happening. Like, he'd literally dumped private conversations between FBI agents on Skype. Like, he shared this on Skype with other Anons, and when we heard this stuff, people started to seriously doubt what was going on already. Like, this was such a shady high level. Like, you can't just randomly have recordings of FBI agents talking together. It's just not something like. This is not some amusement park. This is not a joke. Like, you're playing at the high level there, and the second you do that, you're going to be hunted down. So
Yeah, unless you're doing it to entrap the other people on that call.
yeah, of course. He was
Because you've
just
already
delivered that
been
stuff.
hunted.
He was delivered 0 days, or that's exploits which aren't known yet to the public. 0 days, and
Yeah.
those were delivered to them, and that's why they could get in a lot of stuff. They were given a little help. Yeah.
That's funny. It'll help.
Yeah.
I snitch, folks. Fuck Sabu. Yep. Fuck Sabu.
Michael Tracy just got kicked out of what, Jenny?
What?
I don't know. There's a message in the or a comment in the Rockfin chat from Jenny Butcher, and all it says is Michael Tracy just got kicked out.
Okay.
And I don't know what that is in. I don't know the context there.
Oh.
What it's in regards to?
I don't know what it's in reference to. I mean, I can think of a lot of places that Michael Tracy would get kicked out. You know.
You can't kick me out, I'm leaving.
Probably every strip club he's ever been into.
Do you think Michael Tracy goes to strip clubs, or is he too scared?
Oh no, he's the type of dude who would go to like a top dollar overproduced, these are actually, escorts or fucking music video dancers fucking strip club, and get immediately kicked out. Like he would violate Clubhouse, that's funny. He'd violate the dress code, or he would get himself kicked out real quick, like before he even got an opportunity to touch the dancer. Before,
So
but
you mean
but if he
creeping
managed to get to the point to where he could touch the girl, then he would get out for touching the girl. It'd be like, but it's I paid. He'd be that guy.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know the dude, so maybe.
Oh, Michael Tracy is a professional contrarian that hits people up for money on Twitter to support what he calls journalism.
Yeah. And he has a kink for getting shat on and ratioed constantly. And beaten up probably too.
His fetish is getting dragged on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh wow, sounds like a winner.
Yeah. Just unique figures on Twitter.
Michael Tracy is the reason that people came up with the word Tulsel as a derogatory term for male Tulsi Gabbard supporters.
Oh
I was
no,
gonna ask- I was gonna
that
ask
term
what
was
that was.
applied to female supporters too, Steve.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was, but it was because of Michael Tracy that term got coined.
Yeah.
Oh man, there is some real sexist shit on Twitter. I mean, just not just Twitter, but the live streams and podcast. It's like there's such a need for real voices out, and it's just one long shit show. Everybody with a following thinks that they need to have a brand new fucking podcast just to sell T-shirts. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's weird because we're on a podcast, but at least we try to get out information.
Yeah,
and have
but
decent conversations.
we're not fucking little douche shit punk asses.
Well, I mean, I gotta ask, why are you doing this? And it's always for some, the builder brand and whatever. It's definitely not to speak the truth, which is why you should be doing it. It seems like everybody's got a new podcast launching this weekend, and it's like, but you aren't gonna say anything important, so why bother?
Because it's a way for them to make money. It's why people throw around the word grifter all the time for fucking everybody that has a microphone and a channel, and it's because there's a lot of motherfuckers out there who know that in the era of coronavirus, when you can't go out publicly to do your thing, or you're not getting paid as much to do a movie because you don't have to worry about getting it to theaters and all of that kind of shit and distribution and blah blah blah. They're not going to make as much because they're not going to be going through that. It's all direct release shit now. They have to find a way to supplement their income. Now, granted, the vast majority of these people need no supplementing for their income, which is why they have nothing to say. They're all in a very comfortable place. They just want more. And so they're going to talk about the shit that matters to them, maybe. Or they're going to use some talking points from something that maybe they heard on, like, I don't know.
Yeah, most of it is just repeating the same old talking points that they heard somebody else important say. And that's what like comes across, is they're just like repeating what they assume other, or, you know, have heard other people that really do know what they're talking about say, but lack any of the information or knowledge behind any of it.
And at the back of that, there's the talent agency that has a board of directors with a couple of fucking former CIA assistant directors on it who are saying, you need to get all of your clients onto this podcasting shit. You need to make sure that this is what they're talking about, and there's some serious narrative management in the background going on. The person with the show could be oblivious to it.
Because who doesn't want to hear a podcast with Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen?
So, hey, I don't even know what Bruce.
Who's doing Springsteen? Who's doing Springsteen?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
That's one of those. Yeah, it just seems like it's so manufactured, and that is a good one. And I guess I don't have anything particularly against Springsteen. I'm not an Obama fan.
Neoliberal cunt, fucking fake ass, fucking poor boy, singing about being a working class man in fucking the '90s when he was a multi-millionaire and married to a fucking model.
Yeah, but out of the two, I liked Springsteen more than Obama. I won't lie to you.
Dance around in your fucking
I never listened to a Springsteen song. So, I have, but like I never listened to him like that. So when I saw that, I was just like, why?
It's just an advertising thing. Like, that's the deal. Like, Obama is one of those people that has such a huge voice. He could do amazing things. It's just not even counting the nightmare fucking war criminal bullshit that he actually did. But he has such a voice. He could do so much in the world, and he uses it to just push talking points on a podcast. And the most you get out of it is fucking some T-shirts, right? Maybe answer a written question at some point in it, but there's literally nothing there.
Well, yeah, that and, stop an NBA strike or butt in whenever there are massive protests going on saying, no, us blacks need to calm down a bit, It's...
Pull your damn pants up.
Yeah.
I don't like the way you look.
Yeah.
That was like when Biden said it was the cleanest. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Because, aside from that podcast with Bruce Springsteen, like, when's the last time you heard Obama? It was to stop. It was when he helped stop the NBA strike, and and when he wrote that fucking bullshit letter during all the protests last summer, talking about peaceful neoliberal bullcrap. I don't even remember it, but it was bullshit and it pissed me off.
All right, handle it the way I did. Cop murders somebody, have them over and have a beer. Right, talk it out. Yeah, he was fucking the absolute worst. Well, that was the deal. Like, he was president for 8 years. He had an opportunity to do something about police violence. He had every nobody.
Did he cut out for you too, or?
Yeah.
It always does that. But look, he was president for 8 years.
Discord.
He could have done something about police violence, and instead, I would argue it was worse. Like he literally made, like, it didn't get better. There were more people in prison. There were more fucking, child detention camps. Like all of the bullshit that we're seeing there, he had 8 years to do anything about, and he didn't even try.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of activists that were imprisoned and murdered because he was a willing servant to the police state is just disgusting.
It's that whole neoliberal tough on crime bullshit, which just means bigger prisons, right? It's slavery with a smile.
Yeah.
There are questions
Fuck
about
Obama.
that in the chat. So
Oh, and
YouTuber
real quick though, I have to get this off my chest since Steve brought it up.
go ahead.
Fucking Democrats kneeling in kente cloths.
Oh, what
Like,
a joke.
have
What a joke.
I remember when I first saw that, and I walked out of the room and screamed because that's how bad it was.
You could smell how fake it was. Look, these are the people that set up the systems that are oppressing us, right? These are Nancy Pelosi. Like, Nancy Pelosi was at the front, and that's what you get for her, right? You get a cool photo op.
Like,
right?
you
get all the-
can write a fucking... I know these people won't, but you can write a fucking bill. You can
It's
pass
not-
a
they
fucking
have
policy,
written- they have
and
written
you
bills.
and you decide to culturally appropriate a fucking kente cloth and kneel in it.
It's not even, the cultural appropriation is the least of the problems there. They have written bills, their entire careers, that have caused millions of people to be in prison. Right? So, there's...
Kneeled in fucking kente cloths and thought they were doing something, like...
golf claps, tearing up speeches, like, that's the most you can expect from that kind of leadership.
Gentlemen, you're all my elders here. Have you seen something worse than that in your lifetime? Something more disgustingly performative and shallow?
I would say more, no. But they've done that since my entire lifetime. Everything that they've done when it comes to civil rights has always been performative at most.
Yeah, I would say We Are the World. What was the other one? Do They Know It's Christmas? They
did one during... They did the Can You Imagine, right? When coronavirus first broke, all the celebrities did from their mansions did a Can You Imagine sing-along.
Oh my god, remember that shit when, like, celebrities were trying to get people to vote, so they were like, hey guys, I'm naked, and I'm voting from my house. How cool is that?
Sarah Silverman, like, didn't get the memo and just, like, took a full nude picture and a video instead?
This is like an actual ad.
Anytime, there are very, 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 very select few of celebrities that are real deal, but most of them are just mouthpieces at that point. They're actors. They're selling you a politician in the same way that they're selling you car insurance, right? In the same way that you're selling you the new Visa card, right? And they sell it with that same enthusiasm. They're actors. That's what they do. Like I said, there are a few that are the real deal, but a very, very few. Most of them repeat exactly what they heard somebody that was informed say, or what they're told to say. They're actors. That's what they do. They act.
Madema Rose, or however you pronounce that, I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, in the chat, here in the YouTube chat. So Jeremy got, they were threatening him with like 40 to life if he didn't roll on his crew, if he didn't somehow implicate that this was a job that Julian Assange orchestrated from behind the scenes. This is what they wanted him to say. They were threatening him with 40 to life. What he got, when it was all said and done, was a non-cooperating plea deal to one count of violating the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, and he got a 10-year sentence for that. So the 9.5 years that he's done is all of the good time that they would give him, which really like he ended up getting like 6 months total off of that full 10-year sentence.
And when you put that in contrast to what that mayor in North Dakota that hit somebody with their car, killed them, and left the scene, right? Then lied to the police about it, and they got some probation. Like you see how justice works.
Sorry, not over the DNC hack. No. This was Stratfor and HB Gary and a bunch of other. They attributed like everything that Lulzsec did to Jeremy Hammond.
Well, that's what I was saying before.
Oh, you cut out again.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I was saying before, in that they charge you, especially with these hacking things, with hacks that there's not enough time, right? You would have needed years to accomplish those all simultaneously. Like entire teams of people, entire crews to pull that off, and they'll paint one person as being like a super, and it's just not fucking possible.
But yeah, everything that comprises the global intelligence files and WikiLeaks, that's what he was charged with.
Yeah, well, he confessed to his own actions, and he said that he did certain things, and no one else he talked about. So that's pretty much it. And that is also what he said in his statement, right? He was responsible for his own actions and didn't talk about anything else.
Well, I mean, he's ended up doing a lot of time for.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and he was forced to testify for, like, at the end of his prison sentence, they asked him, like, to testify against Assange and frame him for stuff, and he refused that. So when he says, okay, this is the part in his statement, like he said, when I pled guilty, I took responsibility for my actions and my actions alone. I never agreed to be debriefed or testify in any way, unlike the government's informant Hector Monsegur, aka Sabu, whose reward was 1 year of probation, while I received the maximum sentence allowable by law. It was a painful choice, but 10 years in their dungeons was the price I was willing to pay so I could maintain my integrity. I've never regretted my choices the entire time I've been incarcerated, and have seen and experienced firsthand the abuses and inherent injustice of the prison industrial complex. My commitment to revolution and abolition has only become more deeply entrenched.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It is, dude.
It's just such a huge amount of time to have taken away from you. You know, the one thing that you can't get back.
Yeah. And I mean, look,
a huge sacrifice.
We just had Keith McHenry on. What was that, last week or the week before? And he hasn't been able to get a job in the U.S. in 20 years. Like that's what they've tried to take from him for being an activist and feeding homeless people. And he said Newsday, I think he might have said it when he was on here too, but that he remembers Jeremy as a Food Not Bombs volunteer. Like didn't even know that he fucked around on a computer at all whatsoever, and was like hella surprised when he saw him in the news related to the GC Global Intelligence File, or GIFs, the Global Intelligence Files. Fucking, he was like, "What? Are you kidding me? Really? No way." I don't know. Maybe there's a direct correlation between volunteering to feed homeless people and wanting to make sure that people have the ability to see what their government does.
So I mean, imagine those two things are connected in that, you know, you have a want to expose the people that are causing this strife, causing poverty, causing hunger. You know, the things that we face feeding the needy are where our government's greed has led entire swaths of our population down. You know, we'll spend millions of dollars to put spikes on park benches rather than provide people with you know, warm homes.
Yeah. Spend millions of dollars in fucking private security firm contracts and policing to sweep up homeless camps instead of just, you know.
Ending homelessness.
Yeah.
Like, the thought that is not within our grasp, the thought that we have, you know, supersonic underwater nuclear weapons before we fixed homelessness is insanity. You can't figure out how to buy a house and put a homeless family in it. It's not as difficult as you're making it seem. But it seems to be something that the oppressors definitely hate. You want to really piss off the fucking U.S. government? Feed the poor. They fucking hate it.
Feed the poor, stop an eviction, stop a sweep. Ooh, they'll hate you. Send out the fucking
label you a terrorist. Drone surveillance.
They'll send out the fucking horse brigade on your ass.
Yeah, and all those big brains none of them ever figure out how to fix homelessness. It's pretty insane.
Yep.
Maybe we should spend the money that we're using in the drone surveillance and just buy a house.
Now that common sense isn't good for my Boeing stocks.
Especially when those drones are millions apiece. Like, you could buy a lot of houses.
Yeah.
But a lot of people you see in the struggle are normally people you do see at, you know, at Food Not Bombs, at, you know, Operation Safe Winters, at homeless shelters, you know, that are cooking meals and keeping people warm. Those are normally the...
You cut out again, Terrence.
Yeah, the people that are driving
Discord!
around... Yeah, Discord hates me. The people that are driving around and keeping people warm and distributing food and helping the needy, those are normally the people that have the most disdain for our corrupt system. You know, because you see on the ground, you know, what's actually happening.
Yep. It's like the empire crumbling before your very eyes, really. And at this point, it's asinine to deny it. Yet we see so many people doing exactly that.
That's when they're most dangerous. Right before they lose power, you will see them do the most crazy shit. That's when they're most violent. They're most desperate to hold on to power because they know it's coming to an end.
Yep.
You're starting to see that in some of these conflicts around the world where the U.S. is literally desperate for any sort of reason, anything at all, to stay there, where they're literally grasping at straws. where you're trying to push the limits. Like, what can I do to get them to engage? Like, what do we have to do to Iran to get them to attack us? Just a little bit. All we need is one thing, and we haven't even been able to do that. And you can see in their reactions how desperate they're becoming.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, we fucking assassinated their top general last year, and their response was incredibly fucking measured.
Well,
compared
that's
to what-
because they've learned our weakness. Like, we really will smash ourselves against the rocks. We will train a terrorist organization to kill our own soldiers to hope that it starts a war. Hope. It probably won't is the problem. They get all the guns and they're all like, you know what? Fuck these guys.
Not to mention, we wouldn't win a war with fucking Iran. Because, first of all, the people fomenting war don't want to win. They want to keep manufacturing chaos in that region. Second of all, we just flat the fuck out wouldn't win. Like, we didn't win in Vietnam. We still haven't technically won in Syria. And you think that we're gonna stand up to the fucking Persians? Good fucking luck.
It just has to do with the, you'll hear them say the same thing. Like, somehow this attack is going to win the hearts and minds. And anyway, anytime you hear somebody say the words hearts and minds, you know that this is a losing war. And the reason that is because you need one of two things to win over a population. You either have to have their hearts, they're with you, with that there's been some genocide or something that, emotionally that they're attached to, or you have to have their minds. They agree with you ideologically. If you invade a place where you have neither of those things, which Vietnam, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, we use. You'll never win that engagement. You're missing two of the biggest parts that you need to win a war. You either have to have their hearts, right? They agree with you emotionally on something that happens, or it has to be their minds, where they agree with you ideologically in something. In the places that we're attacking, we have neither. And we don't want their resources. We don't want to take over the country. Nobody in Texas wants to move to fucking Syria. So we get in these wars where there is nothing to win. We want the Iranians to say America is great, and that's never going to happen. And that's like where our line is.
Yeah, well, and not only are we not going to win, but like, even if we wanted to win, we're not going to win. But at the same time, they don't want to fucking win. They just want to keep destroying the region and plummeting all of the resources. Like in Syria, we're not winning. But, we're occupying the fucking northeast for oil so Delta Crescent Energy can get all the fucking oil they want.
It's something that really, and you saw with that last strike, right? It's like you already have the oil fields. You already have what you're there for. And it's something I absolutely condemn Trump for. But I...
Cut out again a bit there, Terrence.
It's something that I absolutely despise Trump for, but I also hate being lied to, right? And he came in and said, look, right, we're in this expensive war. We don't want any of this shit. We don't care about the people. We're here for the fucking oil, right? We're going to steal your oil. And they move the troops to protecting and stealing the oil. It's absolutely terrible. It's horrific. It's disgusting. It's despicable. But it's also not a lie. Where the Democrats and Biden, they're building this ideology around it, and we're saving that. We're not here for any of that bullshit, right? So doing that, after the fact seems even more pointless. You've already got what you wanted. Syria is never going to say thank you for murdering Syrians, ever, even if they don't like Assad. Nobody is. I fucking can't stand Biden. You can't kill Americans that's going to make me like him or dislike him anymore.
Yeah.
But I do see a desperation.
I don't know if Biden could do anything that would make me go, oh, okay, well, yeah, I've increased how much I don't like this racist, segregationist, pedophile, war criminal monster.
I It's one of those like it's just reaffirming disappointment. I think is the words. Like you're not surprised that he signs more oil pipelines. It's Biden, right? He's a sack of shit. You're not surprised that he's going to cut Medicare. It's Biden. He's a sack of shit. You're not surprised that he's expanding child detention centers. The motherfucker built child detention centers, right? He's a sack of shit. All of the things that he's doing, I'm not surprised about, but reaffirming the disappointment that I have in neoliberal sacks of shit.
If I found out that he was a Celtics fan, maybe I might dislike him more than I do.
No, there's nothing he could do to make me dislike him anymore.
I know, I'm grasping at straws here. And here's the thing, even if I found out he was like a Celtics fan or a Liverpool fan, I would just be like, oh, you know what? Now it just makes even more sense.
Yeah, makes sense. That's normally what you like when you hear something that he's done. You're normally like, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like
yeah, bro. I'll see some fucking asshole on Twitter just chatting utter shit, and I want to smack him in the face. And then like I'll take a peek at their bio, and it'll be like, oh, you'll never walk alone, hashtag LFC, or like Celtics fan for life, bleed green. And I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Yeah.
So I like a lot of the people that it's kind of what we were talking before. It's like even their attacks are cookie cutter at this point. Like they're going to say the same 10 things over and over again. You ask yourself, how far? What would these people have to do to get you to stop supporting them? And it doesn't seem like there's a limit. They're as bad as fucking Trump fans. I say fans, not even supporters. They're like fucking groupie fans for these people.
Oh yeah.
What 2 months ago they were trying to post T-shirts for Cuomo to run for president and blah 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 blah. They were all fucking all over him. And
oh yeah,
every single new of them.
Fucking Cuomo, Fauci, 2020.
Yeah, and every single one of them knew that he was a complete sack of shit. We were telling them that he was a complete sack of shit, and that had to do with prisons in Wall Street, right? And all of them knew all of this and still came out in support from him. It's pretty it's sickening. Like, none of these people, it's a surprise. They're acting like who they've always been, and they've never even hit it.
Oh, yeah. Like, everybody's fucking going like, oh, I can't believe Biden would do this. I didn't vote for this. No. And it's like,
yes, you did.
Did you not get enough hints from his 47-year career in politics? And as if the 47-year career in politics wasn't enough, you had people bringing up receipts from that whole long-ass career and serving it to you on a golden platinum platter. And you still voted for the dude, and now you're over here like, oh, I can't believe this would happen. I thought we would push him left.
Guys,
yeah, it's a complete joke.
We have to answer some questions from the chat now, like seriously. Because someone, Sebastian in the chat says, why has nobody brought up the fact that Assange has only good things to say about the Mossad and Israel? I want to start by this, but this is not true because the WikiLeaks published a lot about Israel, a lot of files, and you can just find them on the WikiLeaks website. That's just my quick answer, you guys. Whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, just to bring it up, so this is, there's lots of people that kind of claim this thing that he's a Assad agent or whatever, and it's just, if you go and look it up yourself, which is what I would say to do, go to the WikiLeaks site and look it up yourself, and you can see plenty of information about Israeli war crimes. Not just war crimes.
Yeah, and in Israel he's called also an agent. But in America it's called a Russian agent, and in Russia they call him an MI6 agent, right? And
Yeah, anybody that he's released something in, the other side says that he's an agent, right? If you say something bad about America, you're a Russian agent. If you say something bad about Russia, you're an American agent. If you say something bad about both of them, you're an Israeli agent.
Yeah. I
They're
mean,
working
it's
for
like, here's
China,
the thing.
the North
Yeah,
Koreans.
here's the thing with WikiLeaks is they've exposed everyone. It's just because, you only ever get publicity around something like the Afghan and Iraqi war files or the DNC leaks or Cablegate, because you only kind of see those things, Vault 7, as like the main attractions of WikiLeaks. Then there's way, way, way more in WikiLeaks that
Well, there's a lot
deserves
of
the same amount of
misinformation
attention.
out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's people that, like we were talking there, every one of those agencies has a vested interest in faming Julian Assange. I would urge you to go to the WikiLeaks site and do your own research, right? Don't take somebody's word for it. Hey, there's nothing about Israel on the WikiLeaks site, and then you go there and see all the information that's there. Right, I would urge you to go, especially with this. And when you're hearing this crap, go to the site and check it out for yourself. Trust me, you want to know. Right,
Yeah.
like you do want to know those cables. You do want to see what the truth is, and then if you look at the site and still have that feeling, then that's different. That's you're welcome to your own opinion. But I urge you to go and look at it before you repeat what somebody else has said. That their chances are repeating from someone else as well.
Yeah, and I mean, WikiLeaks has just such a vast trove of documents involving all kinds of countries all over the world. You could find a new document every day, really.
yeah, you can.
But yeah, yeah, that statement in itself, I would say, is false. I've never seen anything that would lead me to believe he's an Assad agent in any way, shape, or form, on top of the information that's actually on the WikiLeaks site, which is quite damning to the countries that they've exposed. Right? Well, nobody's doing anything about it, but they're clearly exposing blatant war crimes going on around our world. Uh-oh, did I get disconnected?
No, I can still hear
You
you.
you kind of cut out a bit, but I didn't know like when you would come back, so I was just like, oh, did he
I'm
already?
back. I'm back.
So I was just like, oh, did he already finish his statement, or did he just now come back, or?
I was wrapping it up. I don't know why Discord hates me today so much.
Yeah, Discord doesn't like you, bro.
Come on, Discord, don't be like that. Like, you were my last hope here. Fucking Twitter hates me, Facebook banned me altogether. YouTube and Instagram are about the same. VK like censors me every once in a while. Like, Discord was my only place where I could roam free.
Oh, you should get an element and a mastodon and a
I'm
mastodon.
so tired of just going from one social media to the next. When I post the same thing on all of my accounts, and you just go and like post the exact same thing on each one and just see which platform censors it. It's always a roll of the dice.
Yeah. Man, I want to get off IG so bad. It's like I don't even use my account anymore, but like I still really want to get off IG, but like so many fucking activists actually use that to promote their events, so I fucking have to stay on there. But Yeah.
Nah, I'm fuck it. I'm everywhere. Like it's just like you have to be on all of the platforms to keep from being censored, and each one of them censors me for like different stuff.
Yeah.
Like they all have their, there's certain things that are no-nos. Which I'll grant it, I
Yeah.
violate the fuck out of. Like I'll give them that. Like it's not my fault you made fucking fascist rules, right? I think it's bogus. I believe in free speech and free press, and I'm exposing your corrupt asses. But yeah, I am violating the fuck out of this. Facebook let me go forever. I'm surprised that, it was years of fighting with them before they banned me altogether. But they let it get, 10 million fucking followers before they finally shut me down.
Oh, okay. Steve is locked out for a second.
Yeah, he said he had an emergency to take care of real quick.
Um.
Okay, Sebastian asks, do you guys have any information pertaining to boarding schools that have operated in Quebec? I've lost hope in the Catholic Church and the provincial, even federal government.
No, I haven't, but I have
No.
a feeling where that story's gonna end.
No. I just. Yeah. I mean, it sounds interesting. Being that I'm in college, I'm always interested to hear fucked up stories about Western education. But, yeah.
I don't know exactly which issue that they're talking about there. I know that some of the boarding schools are pushing the vaccination passport, but I don't know. There's so many issues when it comes to fucking boarding schools, and then being that they said the Catholic Church was involved, like I said, I think we know where that story's going. But I personally don't have any inside information about that story. Just about the church. Did you guys see the Pope's visit to Iraq?
Oh, I heard about it, but I haven't actually looked into it yet.
I think it was a good meeting. I think it was good for everybody to do a little bit of healing. This isn't like a promotion of the Catholic Church in any way, shape, or form, but I do think it was like a good step. Look, our political leaders are not going to find peace, so we're going to have to do it ourselves. And I think both of them have the ability to speak to people without going through the bullshit. If every Ayatollah and the Pope said, "Hey, no more wars," then that would come to an end in a lot of places. These people do have power; they just only ever use it for evil. Whether I believe they should have power is irrelevant. The fact that they do have power means they could use it to foster peace between people.
Yeah.
If you only ask the military-industrial complex for your negotiations, it's never going to come out with anything but war.
True that.
But yeah, I thought it was definitely a positive thing for people of faith on both sides of that equation. I hope to see more of it. I don't know if we have a. I was looking through the thing. I don't see a list in the chat for tonight. And I don't want to focus on US politics. So it's like all day, 24/7. Like it's overwhelming sometimes.
Quick question from Meteor Dreams. Has Eva Bartlett been on the Assange vigils? Yes, she has.
Do we have some links to put down? We can maybe send their way. I can't hear anything. Yeah, I do apologize. My connection's really bad tonight.
Yeah, some stuff in between. There's a lot of questions in the chat though.
Well, I heard yes, she has, and then that was the last. Are we having mic issues on that side?
Okay, let me go through all the questions. Like, do you
Let's get a good one.
what's that noise? That's a good one.
I think we lost Glory. I think her mic cut out.
Can y'all hear me?
Almost. Yeah, it sounds like a bad connection wire.
About now.
Alright, what do we got in the chat? While we're trying to fix her mic.
Can y'all hear me now?
I can hear you. I'm sorry for having to dip out like that. I had a friend who really needed to call me.
Everything alright?
I think so. At least for the moment. I don't know. I'm gonna call back before the show tomorrow. And I'm having the coffee.
Terrence, Mark, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, can.
Yeah, it was cracking up real bad there. But no, I'm down to answer some questions from our YouTube. I don't know exactly which one we have.
Did we get to any of the Rockfin comments or questions in the last like 15 or 20 minutes?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Anna Mears tipped $2. Thanks for the super, Ray, Anna. She said, can we bring up how horrifying the last grasp at celebrity worship has gotten? BiteLabs.org is a real thing. Mixing celebrity cloned meat to consume. What?
Fuck? So they're cloning, so they're taking some celebrity cells and then cloning them, and then you get to eat the celebrity? Is that what I'm getting out of that?
Okay, so here's the front page. Here's the front page. Eat celebrity meat. Bite Labs grows meat from
celebrities like this.
From celebrity tissue samples and uses it to make artisanal salami.
Alright, this has gone too far. Alright, I'm telling everybody that right now. This has gone too far. If this is something you're not, I'm not even looking. I'm not even looking it up. I'm not even looking it up. I'm not clicking on that link. All right. If you find yourself in a position where you're thinking, should I buy celebrity grown meat? The answer is no.
Oh my god.
That is
There's a campaign.
that is gross. You stop that
There's
right
a campaign. Help get celebrities on board. Let's tell the world we want to hashtag eat celebrity meat. Oh my
No,
god.
no,
There's
you're gonna give yourself mad cow disease.
there's like celebrities that you could tweet at.
We start with top quality ingredients and time honored recipes for the creation of fine cured meats. We mix
No.
celebrity and animal meats grown in-house through a proprietary culturing process into curated salami blends. Starting with biopsied myoblast cells, we grow our healthy, rich meats in Bite Lab's own bioreactors. Our process yields high-quality luxury protein in a sustainable manner that eliminates the environmental and ethical concerns associated with traditional livestock production and apparently cannibalism.
Yeah. So I mean, is this supported by celebrities or you're growing celebrities?
Oh my god,
What
wait,
is
there's
going-
an option. Are you famous and want your meat produced?
No.
God.
No.
Oh my god.
Okay, so it says coming soon for nutritional information, but I'm pretty sure that this is a project still in the developmental stage.
Again, is this a product supported by celebrities, or you're growing celebrities like you're cannibal, like you're doing a little clone cannibalization there? I'm not even sure what category to put that in.
So you only have two options for the contact for getting a hold of them, and it is, are you famous and want your meat produced? And then you send the one email, and then the other one is, if you're fascinated, you send your email here. And I'm
fascinated. I want to know more.
fascinated, but I'm also like,
Worried. I'm
why
very worried.
list internet famous?
Yeah.
Like, not quite Z-list, but right down there.
I always count myself as
If
Z-list.
they want, you know what? If they want the meat of, I think, the last person to interview John McAfee before he got arrested,
Oh.
I'm your dude.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm your
no.
dude.
No.
I don't want people getting a taste for me.
No. I just want the initial email. I want the pitch meeting. That's what I want.
I don't want people to grow
I want
like
the pitch meeting. I don't actually want to give up my cells through biopsy so that they can be mild blasted. I'm perfectly fine with my cells being where they are at the moment and have no desire to become anyone's lunch.
Yeah, see, I don't want
I
someone to
should
bite
sign
into
you
a,
up for your
into a
meat
Terrence
produced
steak.
then, Steve.
And then be like, well, the real stuff is way better.
Like, you may not be able to tell just by looking at me or listening to me, but I am incredibly selective about where my meat goes.
Ah.
I'm not so selective.
Ah.
50 bucks says Marina Abramovic. It's on it. All right. Hollywood to
I know,
table.
you know,
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I'm actually kind of tempted to like troll this way by like entering in celebrities' emails.
I don't want to be a part of this at all. I feel like this is going to end badly. I don't want any part of the people growing people for food thing. I know how I know how this movie ends. Soylent Green is people. It's people.
I mean, there's already a Soylent company.
Yeah, but it's not actually people. It's mostly Soylent.
Well, do we know
Well,
that?
until Byte Labs has something to do with it. So, I mean, yeah, this is definitely too far. Our culture in general has such a huge problem with celebrity worship. I mean, beyond it's where we were kind of touching on it with the election, politics in general, but everything from insane workout products to weird pills to crazy diets to which politician to vote for to horrible like debt causing loans. Like, it's just an endless stream, and yet people gobble it up. Like, whatever that puppet on the screen tells you, you immediately worship and will do anything that they say. And I don't understand the why. Why does their voice get so much weight for doing nothing?
Aw.
You could be a great actor, right? I'm happy with that. But why does that extend that somehow you know something about politics? You know something about scientists. Ask a scientist about science. Why are you asking some fucking celebrity? Right? If you want to know about history, ask a historian. If you want to know about civil rights, ask somebody in the civil rights movement. Why are you listening to some fucking celebrity that's just regurgitating the same bullshit at you? I
Well, you
don't
see,
understand why their voices get so much weight over the people that are actually doing it.
We live in a society that culturally has been programmed by the Tavistock Institute. No, I'm sorry, but Jared Beck's coming back on tomorrow. That's
Jared
the
Beck's
last
on
time he was on, we went down the Tavistock rabbit hole. But no, we really, like, it is just the West in not even the West in general. When we stopped having, like, warriors that we outright worshipped as much, do you know what I mean? Like, the hero worship in cultures has always been there, and the idea that a human being can become the next best thing compared to a god, or a god of sorts, or demigod,
Oh no, they
is
straight up.
something
There's
that's,
some of them that straight up believe that they are gods, right? Look at Kanye West,
yeah,
right? He straight up believes you make
yeah.
music, man. Just make music, make good music, right? But you just make music. At
But
what point did you
that
wake up and think you're a
godhood,
god?
that godhood is encouraged culturally, and it doesn't really matter what culture you're from, especially when it comes to um, art and music. I had a conversation with a former boss of mine about this years ago, and his take on it, and I'll lay that out and then let you guys respond to it, just see what you have to say. But his idea was that because America has no royalty, but American culture determines to varying degrees the evolution of everyone else's culture. Because we had no royalty, our artists and movie stars, and then eventually, because of proximity, because of the voice of those artists and movie stars, politicians became royalty. And the rules for royalty are different. That's an unwritten class fucking just code. Everyone knows that the royals can get away with whatever they want because they're royalty, and that's just what royalty does. It's what they've always done. It's what they're going to do. So why would we expect them to behave any different when they're royalty? And that was his theory.
Well, and they even talk about themselves as royalty, right? They're the king of pop, the queen of this, the queen of that, right? They speak about themselves as if they were royal. And they do. I agree with your boss in that our politicians have all but replaced the same powers that your dukes and duchess and all of that crap had, where you can get away with murder, you can start wars, right? The law does not apply to you because you're royalty. And I do think that a lot of our politicians have all but taken the spot of what we saw as royalty. But yeah, I do agree with that. I just think that we can step back and you can enjoy a movie, you can enjoy an artist, you can enjoy an actor's portrayal of something that's going on and not confuse it with reality. And then
Huh.
Oh,
that same confusion leads you to make terrible decisions, follow people that don't have your best interest in mind. You know, how many celebrities can you have around the Clintons to make them look like a good person? Right? How many gushing acceptance speeches can you give to Weinstein, right, to get you in the place that you want? And we continue to keep on treating these people as if they're anything better than just normal human beings. I think Killer Mike is a great example of what I see as a celebrity that doesn't let celebrity make them think that they're more than an artist, right? That they're more than a musician. God didn't choose you to make music. You just make music.
I gotta update the title of this.
To what?
Yeah,
Oh,
to
celebrity meets getting added.
Oh, it's not. I don't want to seem like a hateful person, where I'm looking. I love movies, I love entertainment and all of that, but why, like, again, why would that extend past movies and entertainment? If I want to know how to make a great movie, if I want to know how you got into that character, if I want to know how you did, the special effects, then that's one thing. But then why would you have no working knowledge of the struggle of the poor? You have no working knowledge of politics. You don't even know, right, the record of the politician that you're gleefully holding up. So why would I ask you any of those questions? You've never been to the front lines of a protest ever. So I
Oh
don't
yeah, well
enjoy
I mean it's
pretending
like,
that they're heroes when in all actuality you're nowhere near a hero. You play a hero on
Okay,
TV.
yeah. I mean
okay,
it's like you
gents,
can.
real quick. This is gonna be a wonderful question or two from Proletariat in the Rockfin chat. Do you think hacktivism could be better used in mass organizing campaigns? I think they will be crucial this summer. What do you think are the crucial moves anonymous and hacktivism can make?
Mm. So I mean, hacktivism is not like protests and like other forms of activism in general. Right. So organization in that sense is not something that we do. Having clear targets that we collectively are up against is really important. But unlike a street protest where you're organizing for a date and time and you want to get as many people, as many connections in one place as humanly possible, that's not productive in the hacktivist world, right? If you have 10 people around you, 2 of them are infiltrators, right? If you organize like that, you're just setting yourself up to be taken down. So there are things that we need to do in that having clear opponents and targets. I would say Myanmar is a great example of some of the things that are going on and how to organize hacks correctly. But if you're expecting street protest style hack organization, that's not something that works for hacktivists, right? It's one guy or a small group of people in with a computer, not thousands of people organizing for a march.
Yeah, well I mean even with like street activism, that still gets heavily infiltrated and co-opted. With hacktivism, it's almost even worse and more dangerous because it's, centered around hacking as opposed to protesting and yelling and occupying spaces.
Yeah, I mean, you plan to get arrested when you're at a protest, trespassing, blah blah blah, all of that, right? We've all been arrested plenty of times, but it's not the same as if, look, you do a real hack against a real, some of the real mean motor scooters in the world, right? Somebody's going to jail. Like that's just the way it is, right? If you, and I don't want to name any agencies here because I don't want to kick and open my door, right? But if you're focused on doing, and doing some now that's a risk that many of us take, right? Somebody is going to jail, so it's not the same. It's not the same world. You'll be lucky to skip out and nobody even know you were there. For me, that's the perfect hack, right? Is that you're in, out, done everything that you need to do, and they blame it on somebody else. Or even better, somebody else takes credit for it for some fucking name to fame. High five. That worked out great for me. But our organization is much more focused on a certain ideology or a certain organization, and not specifically on a date and time for a protest. We always need to be more organized, but we can never form an organization.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, if I know that there's another group of hackers somewhere, I'm nowhere near it. No way. Which is different than a street protest, which is different than a pipeline protest, right? There's other forms of protesting, but hacktivism specifically is normally not done in large group settings.
No, no. And there are different ways to protest and to gather information and to disseminate information, right? It's like protests and like things like no dapple is very important. And just by talking to people, like for the pipeline protest, for example, just by talking to the natives who deal with that stuff, and just by confronting these police and showing, like with videos and pictures, what's going on, you have a lot of information you're presenting to the world, and that couldn't have been done by activism at all.
No, there's definitely there's so many parts to this. We are in all reality fighting a war, and with that, you need all sorts of tools to do so. Some of that's street protest, some of that's straight up activism, some of that's making sure that people that are being censored or information is getting out. Some of it's getting rid of misinformation that we spend a lot of time doing, is just correcting. It's not that they're maliciously being wrong, but they've just been misinformed and over long periods of time, and it takes work to undo that. It takes trust to undo that. Part of the biggest thing about what we do with Anonymous specifically is building trust with the people around us. And when people trust what you're saying, that when you do say something that is against what they've heard or against information that they've gotten before, they're more likely to accept it or at least look into it. Like we know that ABB's not trying to lie to us, so yeah, I'll take it for his word, or even worse, or even better, I'll go and look it up myself, which is what I urge everybody to do. Don't take my word for it. But with a lot of these, if you look at the protests in Catalonia, if you look at the protest in the Yellow Vest protest, is a great example, right? Literally no media coverage. They're almost at 2 years of protesting every weekend. right? Not a single, maybe a single story through any of the big networks. Maybe. Hong Kong was another one where even the West that was claiming to support what was going on in Hong Kong, right? Very little information was getting out. Very few videos were getting out. All of it was being censored, and it took hacktivists, people online, just people that are on social networks or social media, sharing stuff out and getting the truth out. Nothing undermines a corporate media lie like a live stream from ground level.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that, I believe, is why Ford Fisher is getting gone after. Because that's all Ford does. He doesn't add any commentary. He doesn't put any spin to it. He doesn't try to tell people what to think or how to feel. He just live streams raw footage.
Well, and they've taken down his YouTube, I think. They took down a bunch of stuff from Twitter. I don't know, what his following is on Facebook, but he was at the Black Lives Matter protests. He was at some of the Trump protests. I think
He's everywhere, man. He's everywhere.
Just live streaming. This is what's going on right now.
He's been at every single one of our Assange events when we've been to DC. I've had the opportunity to chat with him, on those occasions. I wouldn't say like I know him, but we've met, and we've spoke a few times, and I mean he's a fucking hella nice dude. Like he's not out there to put forth.
There's no narrative. That's the deal. There's no narrative, and I think that's what they truly fear, because each left. And they all have their fucking narrative that they're trying to sell. Left, right, all of them, right? And what he's doing is exactly what undermines that narrative.
He's doing what WikiLeaks did.
Yeah, just a guy in a suit to give you his opinion on what's going on right in front of you, right? You can look at that and say, hey, those people were wrong. They were rioting. If that's your take, or if you see the cops being fucking crazy, you can make your decision and be like, oh yeah, they were totally out of line, but they
got off again.
Yeah, fuck, man, it hates me tonight. They want to spin a narrative and tell you what to think and not have you make that decision for yourself.
Exactly.
I saw one the other day, and it was literally two newscasters interviewing each other about their opinion. Like, how far have you gone down when both of you are just telling each other your opinions on a news story? I don't care what your opinion is.
Fair.
Yeah, and I will say it's not just that celebrity thing. It's not. There may be people that I care what their opinions are, right? Chris Cuomo isn't one of them, right? The corporate media people that have been lying to my face for decades now are not people that I want to know their opinion. Oh, it's just a joke.
No Fredo love? That's Fredo.
Nah, man.
He loves it when you call him that.
Yeah, he'll lose it. He'll lose it. And as you see the dynamic between his family, he's not mad because he thinks it's a racist thing. He's mad because his brother called him Fredo all the time. You can see it in his eyes.
The entire time they were growing up. And every single one of his brother's friends and fucking probably a couple of their relatives. And
even on live television, those two. Even on live television, those two couldn't keep it together.
Whole life, he was Fredo Cuomo.
Even on live television, those two could not keep it together and stop from divulging into like childish bickering. And these are supposed to be the leaders of our country.
Best.
Just because someone's in a suit does not make them a good leader or a good person. And we just, I don't know. I just like not circling back, but we just put so much like weight on these people for nothing. Cuomo came out and talked in front of the camera and We're in a world where our politicians think that they're celebrities, and our celebrities think that they're politicians, and yet we still don't have health care. All photo ops and no bills, no laws. Everybody's acting like they're some sort of movie star. They're on the covers of magazines and all of this shit. And we didn't elect any of them to grace the cover of a single magazine.
Well,
My Cuomo
friend,
got an Emmy. He got a fucking Emmy, right? Which I guess looking back, I guess that was real, right? He was coming on TV and acting every day, lying to your face, about the deaths in the old folks' homes, right? So I guess he was a great actor.
Yep.
Anybody that can lie to you with that kind of conviction is a great actor. That doesn't make you a good politician. That doesn't make you a good person, but I guess he deserved the Emmy.
I mean, in that respect, you're absolutely right. There's a follow-up question in the Rockfin. What can be done here in America where there's so much infiltration and co-opting moving forward? How do we arm people with more protection from the tactics of the government?
Well, we are.
Look, the first thing you can do is stop fucking organizing on compromised platforms. Stop having your fucking conversations on WhatsApp and Slack and goddamn Facebook Messenger, even Signal. Like, you get on encrypted platforms to do your fucking strategy and planning, please.
And I think we do have a book coming out at the end of the year. It'll be free to download and all of that stuff, called The Art of Peace, which is nothing but tactics for protesting in our world, in today's world. And there'll be all sorts of little, nuggets of truth and information. But, you're right. One of the biggest things that you can do is start communicating on encrypted lines and get used to communicating on encrypted lines.
For everything.
Everything. That they're listening. They've been exposed to listening. That's such a known at this point. If you're going to be doing real organizing, then you need to be on encrypted lines. And second, you got to get away from the pyramid scheme mentality. Okay, I know it's like in humanity's nature to want the silverback gorilla as your fucking leader, right? Everybody needs a leader, but you have to stop building organizations around leadership. They will fail you, right? Build your organizations around an objective, right? Our goal is to end ICE, right? And whatever you do to make that happen, right, is what you do to make that happen, whether it's signing petitions, whether it's writing congressmen, whether it's writing bills, whether it's organizing, whether it's, chaining the doors shut, right? Whether it's getting video from inside of the facilities, right? Everything that you can. But the biggest thing that you can, that you need to not do is to build it around the cult of personality, right? Where this one person, this one leader or groups of leaders is somehow going to save you, because the people that want to undermine your movement, right, will co-opt those people, right? Will straight up buy them out in some cases. You'll have 1 minute AOC crying in front of a ICE detention facility. The next minute she'll be standing on the floor of the Senate supporting all of the people that built them. Right? So you
mean the empty parking lot with the fucking fence facing the wrong way?
Hey, it doesn't matter to me. The point is that if you focus it around a certain person, you will always fail. Bernie Sanders, another great example. Everything that Bernie, stood for, right, you could do without Bernie. Medicare for all, right? Because if you put it around a single person, they will always fail you. Whether it's arrests, whether it's, emails to someone, whether it's sexual harassment, whether it's embezzling money, they will find a way to take that person down and take down the organization. That's why Anonymous is still here, 30 years into this fight, right? Against the CIA, FBI, NSA, right? Assad, right? You name MI6, you name an organization, and they have had crosshairs on Anonymous. There is no leadership. There is no top leadership to take down to stop the movement. right? And that's the one thing that we can teach to the rest of the to the rest of the people organizing. We saw that how it didn't work to our benefit with Occupy, right? You had some core leadership. When those core leadership went down, the rest of the movement evaporated.
Yeah,
But
no, you're absolutely right. And look, that's what the core concept of decentralized activism is that you don't need leaders in your movement. You need issue specific goals, and then you need to you need to make sure that within your organization you're fluid, but you're communicative. And I mean, dude, but here to just kind of to add to that a little bit, Terrence, the reason that you see all of these movements built around cult of personality, and you see political ideologies that are essentially built around a cult of personality, is 100% on fucking purpose to make sure that they go nowhere. It's a form of kettling. They hold up cult of personalities for the exact reason that whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, especially if they're trying to accomplish it from any sort of like worker friendly mentality, making sure that movement dies on the vine. With a right wing straw man, with someone who's pushing more centralized control, more authoritarianism, less liberty, less rights, then yes, absolutely, there will be success behind that movement within the system, because the system wants more centralized control, wants less rights for us, wants more power for it.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And you can normally tell when you see these movements skyrocket to the top, where if somebody goes from being, or the movement goes from being absolutely no one to being supported by the biggest backers in the world.
Yeah.
The Kochs are great at co-opting it. Who's the asshole on the left? Soros is great at fucking co-opting them. As soon as you see Act Blue behind it, that movement is over, right? They've been bought. It's like having a big "I've been bought" sticker.
What's hilarious is I just saw somebody running for I think New York State Assembly or Congress for New York, and it was an unbought, unbossed, fucking bias or some shit like that, and then it was an Act Blue donate link.
Yeah, if you see the Act Blue stamp on it, you know that they're a bot politician. And it's the crazy. Like, just go on your own. Just go start a fucking GoFundMe. But if you have the support of the people that are around you, especially in politics recently, you're getting all of your support from your voters. Why do you need Act Blue again? I mean, you're gonna have to skip some of the bullshit, right? So you're not gonna get a luxury tour bus. You're not gonna get free flights on the private jet, right? You're not gonna be at all the best restaurants in town. You're not gonna get the cover of Vanity Fair, right? But what are you in this to do? Do you want to make the people's lives better around you, or do you want to be on the cover of Vanity Fair? You can only do one. But to get back to the question, you can't, those are normally good signs that that your movement has been co-opted, but the movement away from centralized activism is the key to taking taking the fight to the streets. Because if they can set up a pyramid, right, they'll take out the top leadership one way or another. Whether you're bought off, whether they expose something that you don't want to be, you don't want to be exposed, your personal life or something like that. They'll use anything, all the way to letting you get big. Something that's like Black Lives Matter, right? They've raised something like $9 million, I think.
$90 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
90 million dollars, and that's now being used to destroy them, right? And they let that go for that very reason. Now, I mean that I'm putting 100% on them. If you give your enemies the tools to kill you, they would definitely use them. How you built up $90 billion and didn't help out the community is mind blowing. But again, that's what happens when you have a centralized movement. When you've got, people at the top that are seen as that leadership. And it's something I love about Anonymous, right? Whether you've been an Anon for 30 years or whether you were Anon 10 minutes ago, your ideas are just as valid.
Yeah, exactly.
And can mean that much. We saw in Hong Kong. How many of us have been to protest? How many of us have fought? Tear gas. We programmed our drones to seek out tear gas canisters and fly them away. Right? Hong Kong put together some traffic cones and defeated tear gas, just like that. Right? And it didn't matter that tool, that idea, that one tactic was a game changer, and they just really started fighting like that. And because of decentralized tactics and activism, we can utilize that all over the world, right? If we see something that works, boom, take it and start giving it to the people. But yeah, I don't want to plug the book like that, but we do have a book coming out. Again, it's The Art of Peace, and it's just all that we've learned over this time in activism and hacktivism, street protests, pipeline protests, and all of the tactics and tools that you need to fight back, to organize, and organize well. It's not as easy as you'd think. If all of us can tell you, it is not as easy as you think. As far as infiltrators, I think it's better to just realize that it's there, right? And then it's no longer a surprise. If you know that there's 10 people in a room, 2 of those people are infiltrators, no doubt, right? Now, how would you act if you knew that? Sun Tzu would tell us that there's 2 ways to deal with infiltrators. Right? One of them is that you take them, you expose them, bring them into the light, whether that's, back in the day, that was execution, but here we're talking about exposing them. Everybody points their fingers, right? And says, oh, hey, they're infiltrators, and they take off. The other way to deal with it, right, is to know that there are infiltrators in your midst and to feed them information that they will get back to their bosses so that they make decisions, right, at the wrong times. And both of those tactics, whether it's exposing them, right? Or whether it's using the knowledge that you're surrounded by infiltrators to your advantage.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that more people have to reckon with.
Well-known infiltrators at a thing, at a protest, right? The chances of the police using deadly force on the front lines are pretty low, especially if you make sure that those infiltrators are on the front line.
Mm-hmm. And especially because normally the people on the front lines and the people serving as shields are going to be the ones blocked out wearing vests. So if that's what an infiltrator comes in, then shit, my guy, you better step up to the front, or else you're getting fucking called out. Come on.
But if you know that they're infiltrators and you're at a protest, right, you make sure that they get pushed to the front because they have ways. The police know, they've identified each other. The chances of them opening up with lethal fire goes way down, and their chances of targeting at least the people that are around them with fire and billy clubs, right, are pretty low. So use that knowledge that you've got infiltrators, people that show up in pairs, right? Almost always they will show up in pairs. They never send anybody in alone. So at the last minute, they'll bring a buddy along. Hey, Jim said he wanted to come, right? And they'll show up with an extra person. It's because that's their partner, right? And you
Yeah.
make sure that they're in places that are to your advantage. Right now, if you expose them, that's it. Right, you lose that thing. You get to build the morale inside of your group. Everybody's happy that you kicked out the infiltrators. Right, we can all feel safe around the fire. But you also lose the tactical ability to use those infiltrators, to use those spies to your advantage. Right, where are all our guys going to be? Oh, we told them they were going to be on 5th Street. Well, how come you guys are driving to 3rd Street? Yup.
Yeah. I mean, you can never put too much faith in one person, because if that one person turns out to be an infiltrator, then you're fucking screwed. Or
Well,
if
and you
that one
don't.
person is a leader and they get co-opted, then you either go and sheepdog for them or you're screwed. So,
Well, look at all of the people that were really seen as progressive activists, have seen as, I'm speaking from the left here, right, that were seen as like I said, forward-thinking progressives, all that crap, and then immediately, support Biden or other people like him. Neera Tanden is another example of, that they just show themselves as being infiltrators, as being bought. In all the respect, all the following, it evaporates in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Like everybody that knows even a little bit of the truth immediately doesn't trust you. And the next time they come out, right, with the next lie, they get even less trust. And the people that stand strong, the people that keep speaking truth, even when it's unpopular, end up coming out on top in the end. But yeah, the worst thing that you can do is build a movement around a leader or a group of leaders.
it's bound to get infiltrated. And like the moment that there's a leader or a group of people that the surveillance state can target, that the national security state can target for some kind of infiltration or co-option, they're fucking rubbing their hands together like, oh, let me get in on that shit. Like, yes, you only gave me one target, like the FBI memo saying we have to go after the Black Messiahs, like going after Fred Hampton and Malcolm X and MLK and Medgar and others. Like, the moment that the surveillance state sees a single leader or a single group of leaders, they're licking their fucking chops, because it's the same playbook they've had for decades.
Well, and they'll, and it's something that gets thrown back a lot. We'll get, well, where are the leaders in the black community? Well, every time we have a leader, you stick a fucking hole through them. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you've executed all of our great leaders, all of our great thinkers, right? And then come back later on with, oh, well, how come there isn't any leadership? Well, you killed them all. You assassinated them in cold blood.
Yeah.
The U.S. supporting MLK Day is the most hypocritical thing I've ever seen.
It's so insulting.
It's like you literally assassinated him and then pretend to celebrate his birthday. And that's in the places where they
dude, the
pretend to
FBI
celebrate.
puts out some ridiculous.
Bro, the FBI,
Yeah.
the CIA, and ICE put out fucking MLK Day tweets. And I'm like, are you fucking
Well, I mean,
FBI?
with him, MLK and Malcolm
You wrote
X
a letter
specifically-
telling him to go kill himself. FBI, you were convicted in a fucking U.S. fucking court of fucking law as conspiring to kill MLK in 1999. Bro.
Right.
Oh, and they don't stop. Every single one of them, it's like, you're lucky if they arrest you. Right? If you're too what they see as dangerous, that you might lead to people to actually freedom, they will kill you. And then on top of it, when you look at all of the time and effort and money that they spent into just to oppress people, just to keep those voices from being heard, and the idea that it's in any way, shape, or form is stopped is what's sickening. Here it's bad enough where it's not even just ICE and all of those people. The amount of people that quote MLK and Malcolm X and have never actually listened to a word that they said.
I know.
Every single politician that came out, like, they care about Martin Luther King Day. They didn't listen to a word. And then you see the things that they vote, the actions that they take, the things that they say right after. Why are you posting a quote for him when you haven't listened to a word that he said? How can you claim to be part of the civil rights movement, wake up in the middle of the night and start
Because they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. Hey, liberals and
That's true.
hey, liberals and progressives. The way to honor Fred Hampton isn't to watch a fucking Warner Bros. Produced movie told from the point of view of the fucking rat that helped get him killed. It's to read his fucking work and listen to his fucking speeches and take some lessons from his own teachings.
I've seen a couple interviews with Spike Lee when we're talking about the media and celebrity power and all of that. I've seen a couple of interviews with Spike Lee, and he's wanted to make movies about the revolution in Haiti, about several, slave revolts in the States, even a John Brown movie that he was thinking about. And they were all shot down, and he was told specifically, you cannot make these movies because we're scared it will inspire people to revolt. And that's why you don't see the realistic movies about Malcolm X and MLK. It's why you don't see movies about, there's revolutions that have been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You barely get a Spartacus movie, and even that they don't like.
We need to bring back, like, Penny University and shit like that. We need this is why we need to secure free assembly, everybody. Really need to secure free assembly. Really need each and every person listening to this needs to think about how they can help fucking secure some legitimate
It has to be through
free speech,
legislation.
self-determination, first freedoms, those kind of things.
It has to be through legislation. And these people are good. We have to be so specific with our laws, or they will dance around it. Well, we can take this right because of this, or we can take this right because of that. And
you cannot legislate your way out of an oligarchy.
Not from the
not
oligarchy,
how that
no.
works.
Not from the oligarchy, no. It's kind of one of those things like you can't expect the corrupt to make laws to end corruption. No, that's very true. At the moment, we still barely have the power of the vote. Now, we don't vote anybody in of any worth, but we could. There's nothing stopping us.
I have never experienced a free and fair election at the federal level in my lifetime. I
Me
don't
neither.
think I've ever experienced a free and fair election at
that
the
is
state level.
50%.
I know for a fact we don't have free and fair elections at the local level because I know who does the buying out.
But some of that, right, I'd say 70, 80% of it is on the government, no doubt. But some of that is definitely on our shoulders, right? We allow them to pick the people for us.
Fucking rose up and shut down polling stations.
Well, no, we don't. When somebody new does come up, we don't support them, right? When we believe the media lies, even when the media has been known to be lying to our face, tells us they're lying to our face, right? We let them make the choices from us and then are unhappy about the choice, right? So yes, it is their fault, right? They are corrupt and they do set up a corrupt system, but we 100% allow it.
We also don't have free and fair elections. Like in general, like the entire procedure is designed rotten to the core, starting with the way the audit process works, in that it doesn't. But to say nothing of electronic voting machines with proprietary software, or the fact that we have fractionalized voting, which is really fucking weird because I'm convinced I'm a whole person, but my vote can, in cases, only count for a fraction of a number.
Yeah, that sucks. Let me tell you.
Jimmy fucking Carter. Jimmy Carter came out and said, we don't have free and fair elections, demanded an audit system, and demanded a way to verify the identity of voters the way that he had been observing as part of the UN body that observed elections all over the world.
Oh no, there's no way. There's no way that our elections is free or fair. Like, I mean, everything that you saw happening in the Bernie campaign is a great example. You know, there's a tendency to focus in on the last presidential election, but that's not where the biggest amount of fraud happened. The biggest amount of fraud happened in the DNC dealing with Bernie Sanders and their insane drive to shut him down. Oh fuck! How much of that did we lose?
Just the last like half second, man. You were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in that the most corruption happened with the DNC and with Bernie Sanders, and what they did to undermine Bernie's campaign and all of to replace them with a neoliberal like Joe Biden. It was absolute blatant corruption all the way down to the software they used, and it's so overlooked or overshadowed, I guess. Maybe that's on purpose. But on the same note, I can't put all of that on the DNC, right? Bernie still gave up. He didn't have to.
I mean, Bernie was playing his part as far as Chris Hedges is concerned, as far as I'm concerned. But Bernie signed a deal with the Democratic Party, the DNC, back in 1992, where as long as he played ball and was their guy, he would never be challenged from within his own party. And he has never been challenged from within his own party. This is horrific, and I can't believe, okay. Hillary Clinton's documentary on Hulu, the one that came out in I think the end of 2019 or something like that. There's a moment in it where
I don't
this
think I would watch
2015,
something like that.
it's like 4 fucking hours. There's a moment in it. I got timestamps and I watched this bit, but the start of it is on the campaign trail early on, 2015, and somebody asks her about Bernie, and she does her real laugh, not her for the camera. I have to pretend to be human right now.
Oh, the wicked witch cackle.
It's a variant of that. You can tell it's genuine, right? And she goes, "Oh, Bernie." That's what he does. He goes out, he says all the things, he gets the voters, and when we need him, he's there. Not worried about Bernie. She still would let to, she gets off on destroying people. But that fell out of her mouth. That fell out of her mouth. And you can watch her oh shit. Kinda. And there's an audible
I've said too much.
People are laughing, but they realize that they let it out. This didn't come out until 2019, but shortly after this moment took place is when Chris Hedges wrote that article saying, look, dude, here's Bernie Sanders. If he was, his hip hop name is Sheep Doggy Dog. This is what he's going to do. This is how he's going to do it. There's nothing legitimately leftist about this guy. Don't fucking fall for it. And that article got buried. He got shit on. Hardly anybody reported on it. And fucking had people. I don't know if it would have made a difference. I don't. Because again, we don't have a legitimate electoral system. We don't. But I think in terms of the overall awakening of people to realize that you don't get to legislate your way out of a system that is a wholly owned subsidy of a small handful of sociopaths that use the intelligence community and the legislature at large as their fucking cudgels to beat the rest of us into absolute shit your pants terror and obedience. And if you step out of line, Jeremy Hammond just did 9.5 years for showing people how companies operate. We got to reverse that dynamic.
I don't pretend.
And we can't do that unless we at least decouple the complete and total control that the national security state has on all three branches of government.
Yeah, for him personally, I couldn't put myself in those shoes, and give up. He had the numbers, he had plenty of people. He had the support. He could have walked away from the DNC, and I will never understand why he didn't. He didn't need them anymore. I really do think he had, more than enough support in a way that Biden could barely fill up a fucking high school gym. Barely. So I will, I'll never understand.
Most of that gym was reporters.
Yeah, I'll never understand when he had the opportunity. There was nothing to stop him. And he didn't take it, and I'll never understand whether it was, inside and that was the plan to begin with, and blah blah blah, all of that stuff. Maybe, maybe I don't know how deep the corruption goes. I know the election was pretty fucked up, and if he was along for the ride and knew about it, they wouldn't have went through all of that work. They wouldn't have went, what was Buttigieg's company name, fucking shadow programming or
Shadow Inc. Shadow Inc. And they were owned by a company called Acronym.
Yeah, so I don't think they would have needed to go through all of that if they already had Bernie in their pocket. But on the same note, if they didn't have Bernie in their pocket, why the fuck did he give up? I'll never understand it, because I think he could have walked away from all of it and won and undid the oligarchy. And I think that that's something that about this election that has always blown my mind, because I go out of my way to talk to people on the right, friends that are on the right, and talk to Republicans, and most of them said that they were going to vote for Trump, but they weren't surprised that Bernie would have won, right? They weren't disheartened that Bernie won. It was more like that Bernie was going to win. If Bernie won, it was more like okay, yeah, I could see that. There wasn't this no way, there wasn't this hatred. Nobody on the left or right likes Biden. So nobody can really sell you why he won. Nobody can really sell you where the support comes from. Nobody can really sell you, any of how he came out on top, whether it's the primary or the actual election, right? But they weren't that way about Bernie. They weren't broken up about Bernie. They said, yeah, I'll probably get fucking healthcare out of it. But there Yeah, there wasn't this seething hatred that you see for Biden for Bernie. Most of the Republicans that I talk to, right, are all like, yeah, I don't like that he's socialist, right? But I don't hate the guy. I don't think he's going to destroy our country.
He's not a socialist. He's not.
No.
Well, we throw these words around: socialists, progressives, leftists. There's a million different words, and none of them describe what anybody in the country is. I don't think. I don't think that most of our terms to use, even the way that our system works, they're all terms from the 16 and 1700s. They don't even fit the world that we live in anymore.
That's fair. I'm also coming from a place of I believe that all of our isms have failed us miserably, and that if we're to move forward as a species, then we need to have a complete
collective ascension.
Yeah, we're
It's
just
like,
you finally decide that look, we can't keep destroying the world because of which ism you are.
yeah,
Right.
that would
Well,
take
I
a
agree
collective
with
ascension.
everything that country's doing, but because of communism, we have to continue to try to murder them or undermine them. Right. Cuba is a great.
Terrence?
Oh, sorry.
I-
Literally everybody involved in that, right? Cuba, right? Everybody involved in that is dead. But because of isms, we have to continue playing this fucking stupid ass game. Right? Because of communism, we have to continue to sanction Cuba, to try to oppress the Cuban people, to try to keep them from traveling or send doctors everywhere. Nobody even can tell me why we're mad at Cuba anymore other than an ism. How many millions or hundreds of millions of dollars are we going to pay this year, right, to keep up a fight against Cuba? To prove that capitalism is
the
better.
the gusanos are still kicking and screaming, man.
You can go through plenty of different situations where we're not fighting over whether we agree. We're not fighting on anything rational other than I don't like that your flag has a star on it. Your ism is different than mine. Your economic system is different than mine, so I have to try to murder you. I'm just not down with that. How you tax your
we,
people in your country is not my problem.
I mean, ultimately,
And I
it
definitely don't want to
was
murder anybody over that.
ultimately it was an excuse that became a theology. And then it just sort of became ground into the collective American consciousness through an ongoing propaganda effort that is unlike any I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, I mean,
And it what it does is it sustains the power structure. Ray McGovern's Mickey Matt.
Ooh.
well, and we're kind of right now we are seeing the fall of the American global empire. And although we don't do colonization, right, we do militarization. And that is slowly but surely coming to an end. And we're going to have to take our place as being about third or fourth on the world stage. We're not the biggest population. We don't have the most workers. We don't have the most, technology. We don't produce the most.
Oh,
For us to try to destroy the world to keep this number one spot is insanity. England had a very similar awakening at the fall of their empire and the East India Company, where you were convinced that your little tiny island should be ruling the world, and all of the strife that trying to keep that number one position causes. And I think in some cases England handled it and is handling it much better than we do, right? But us trying to keep that number one spot where we sit about third and fourth, which is fine. We will try to destroy the world to try to hold on to that spot that chances are the countries with the biggest populations and the most industry are the ones that sit at the number one spot.
international relations major.
Huh?
Do you have a take on that?
Um, no, that's fine. It's a great job. Are you asking me? That's not my.
I'm
No,
asking
no,
Glory
no.
Jones, who is an
I have a
international
few high
relations
level.
major.
No,
I have a few high level
uh,
degrees. None of them's in what was it? International.
No, that's what Glory's major's in, right? That's what she's going to
that's
school
what I
for.
made for you,
Killer.
right?
Yeah. Why is that? Why
Yeah.
is that? Yeah, that's fine. That's awesome.
I just wanted to hear what her take on that was as related to
Oh, I see what you were saying.
her field of study, and we can only assume expertise.
I just see historically.
Well,
English-
that's weird that you frame it like that.
Yeah, I was wondering where you were going.
Fucking not an expert like that, Steve. But I mean, the way I see it, kind
Resident
of.
academic scholar Gloria Jones.
Shut no.
Junior
No.
Piers Robinson with lady parts.
Okay.
Boom.
Now you're really reaching here. You've reached new levels of reaching here to compare me to such a respectable individual.
up, Gloria Jones.
Uh, Well, I mean, here's the thing: is like it's part of it is about competition because there are a lot of old school people that buy into that school of thought that like, yeah, we have to be number one, we have to be the global power, we have to be the superpower of the world. You know, ever since the USSR failed, it's only us. And like, there's people that genuinely buy into that, but at the same time, there's also a push by people, in the Biden-Harris administration to really integrate us into the Great Reset and fulfill the mission of being, like what Steve says, just a branch of the World Economic Forum.
Well, it goes into there is that mindset, which is I feel is really the colonizers' mindset that's slowly but surely destroying us, and that we're not at competition with China, right? America could produce everything that it needs to produce. You'd still drive your car, you'd still go to work, you'd still have internet, you'd still have electricity, you'd still have food. Your life would not change at all, no matter what China does. So to set up our entire world as if we're at this constant economic war with an economy that has nothing to do with us. China can be as successful as it needs to be, right? America can be as successful it needs to be, and neither of them have to be at competition with each other for a number one spot that doesn't exist. Like, what does that even mean? But yet we are obsessed with it. And it is that colonial mindset. I have to control the world or I'm not a good person. I can't take pride in my country.
And fuck colonialism in all
But
forms.
it's right there. Like, you need to control the economies. You need to control the resources. You need to control the people of a completely other country on the other side of the world. That's colonialism. And the fact that, we not only require you to be a good little colonist, we require you to come out every day and tell us how much you love us for it, which is extra weird. Like, the English at least knew
that's
that
where
everybody
the
hated them for
propaganda
doing
comes
it.
in. I mean, they know that this can't happen if people see through the bullshit, which is why so much resources go into propaganda and the MAT part
Yeah,
of the Mickey Matt, the
if
media
Chen on the other side of the
academia
world does
think tank
well,
part of that.
if Chen on the other side of the world in China does well, can take care of his family, has electricity, right, has been brought up to the modern world, and that puts their economy above mine, why do I give a fuck? Is that going to keep me from buying a new pickup truck here in Wisconsin? Right? It doesn't change my life, but you want to set up a whole military engagement and we need to fight over this and fight over that and get closer to nuclear war because you're at competition with China? Competition for what? What do you win? What's the grand prize? What's the end game here? All the people in China wear cowboy boots? What's your plan?
Ooh.
For the Great Reset.
Yeah.
For the
Which, by the way,
empire.
includes the part of the Great Reset is losing the concept of nation states.
Well, it might. Like, I don't know how far it'll happen once we're no longer on our planet. Borders and nation states to begin with are such a weird concept because they're completely fictitious and constantly changing. In fact, most of the countries that we see as being 100% what they are look nothing like that less than 100 years ago. But yet we fight as if they're completely and utterly permanent, where every empire with every border claims that they're permanent and forever, and they all fall and they all change. But it's the one thing that we fight constantly over. And it's what's one of the things that's completely and utterly fictitious. We draw maps on the line, on a map, sometimes completely drunk, sometimes while trying to steal it from the people that are there. Sometimes just because we thought it looked pretty, as if what was like we did in the Middle East. But then we fight as if those are permanent, if those were put there by if those are anything other than complete and utter figments of humanity's imagination and respected by no other animal on the planet. What, we're less than 150 years between what we see as the Texas and New Mexico and Arizona. That was all past part of Mexico. It's less than 100 years ago. 150 years ago. Europe is a completely different map 100 years ago. But yet we fight as if those are permanent, as if that's the way they've always been. And every king, every politician, they all make this huge deal over where the fictitious line on the map runs and who gets to collect taxes. I honestly could care less. If I travel around the world, wherever I'm spending that money, that's where the taxes need to go. I don't care who they go to. So I don't know whether our current setup of nation states and all of this stuff, America's only 250 years old, how permanent any of that non-permanent crap really is. In 1,000 years, none of the countries that we see now will look like they do today. None of them. We'll be lucky if any of them make it to 500. Europe specifically looked nothing like it did today. If you'd put out a map of Europe, right? Some of those countries don't even exist now. And yet thousands of years were spent protecting a moving fictitious border. As cryptocurrency comes up, how important is that really going to be? I don't know. I haven't seen anything positive come from our fake borders. We fight over them a lot, though. But I see it.
Did you get caught up or something? Yes.
Yeah,
We have the Carnation Revolution guy in the chat going wild, like.
I peed on this tree. It's mine.
You guys read that actually.
Yeah, I'm not super into borders.
Statism, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I think it builds a weird nationalism where you'll literally hate somebody because of a fake border.
well,
Allow somebody to
sometimes you would think, Terrence, that if you have like the perfect country where people are living like super free, right, and super wealthy, and everyone is happy, that yeah, maybe maybe you want to keep that state separate, but such states don't exist. So we're dealing just
well,
with.
it would be, if there was a state somewhere that could, look, New Zealand's a good example. They really don't have to import that much, right, in and out of their country. They could exist on their own. They got no need to expand, right, beyond what they are at this very point. Yeah, so I mean, there isn't a perfect state where a lot of the places where we're so hardcore on immigration on our nation's borders are the places that have spent the longest amount of time stealing from everyone that's not in that border.
You know, also
So
the
it
weird
would be
thing is
different.
that
Yeah, it would be different if you take like Africa, for example, where you've got immigrants that are coming while their countries are being bombed and ransacked for resources, right? Well, I mean, if you weren't doing that, people wouldn't be leaving.
yeah, no, but I can also say like some countries flourished under immigration, right? And I mean, like take my own country, like during like the 17th century, when it was like the richest country in on the world, right, with colonizing everywhere. But actually, it became rich because all the immigrants came to Amsterdam, and that was like the immigrants were coming there. Because it was growing super fast. It was like the first stock market, and people could invest in whatever private company there was. But because of all the immigrants, it actually became like super wealthy because all this wealth starts coming in, right? So
Well,
yeah,
and because they had the central bank at the time that exchanged all currencies for what florin and guilder.
yeah, it's actually the same thing when they call it a florin. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was them in what, Luxembourg, yeah? Luxembourg.
Luxembourg was back then still part of Netherlands. Yeah, it's the same. Actually, the same royal family, but
Yeah,
Uh,
but what I meant was where Luxembourg was where they had some, like, don't use banking cartel because that really wasn't the word yet, but families that moved money that turned into the central bank.
yeah, well, it's still like that, and Luxembourg is still very important in the banking. Yeah. Yeah, back then it was part of the Netherlands, but it became no longer part of it because in their constitution it says there can only be a male successor to the throne, and because there was like a queen ruling the Netherlands, they pretty much lost the Luxembourg area.
But that's a perfect example of, how fluid I'm talking about borders actually are. Where one minute you're a country that you would be, or a territory that you would defend with armies and soldiers and all of that. Literally a fake line on a map. And the next moment, because you don't have a queen, right, you have to draw a new fictitious line on the map.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, and like it has nothing to do with like the historical area certain tribes settled. It's like they just drew a line.
People's cultures stay regardless of what the country is. People's cultures stay there. Language, food, all of that stuff has nothing to do with what the borders are. People that live on the border of Texas have more in common with the people in Mexico, food-wise, music-wise, right? How they dress, culture-wise, than they do with somebody that lives in Maine.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even if you talk about Scandinavia, for example, right? You don't talk about just Norway or just Sweden or whatever. Because that, like, you talk about the Viking culture, and these people, they lived in the entire area, not in one specific country. So that entire tribe lived over that entire area. That's what I'm saying. Like you had the Germanic tribes in what more
the
like
Normans and the Normans and the Franks as well.
Yeah.
A little bit farther south, which is a great example of language and culture stays. Those countries that the Frankish and
you're cutting off.
those countries that the Frankish and Norman tribes were in, right? Those cultures have stayed in those areas, yet those countries have changed 1,000 times since then. Empires have risen and fallen, right? And those same cultures, the food that they eat, the words that they use, how they build their houses, hasn't at all. Even though all of those borders on a map, as far as humanity is concerned, have changed constantly. We did world wars over them. But in the end, meant absolutely nothing to the cultures that actually live there.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, Catalonia has seen the rise and fall of what 5 empires now. Complete changes in economic systems, the fall of the great monarchies all over the world, and yet their culture, language, and food, their buildings, their clothing, everything has stayed the same. regardless of what the borders around them have said, what the maps made up by people have said.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you talk about like China, there is like what is it, like over 1,000 different languages.
In the West, we look at Russia as being a like monoculture country, and you have like no idea the amount of different cultures that they consider like absolutely the opposite of America, where we require being homogenous, right? Same language, same religion, same dress.
Well,
same
purely
everything.
based off the
Russians
fact
are
that
the exact
Russia
opposite.
is so fucking huge. Like, you will have every color in Russia.
Yeah,
And,
you have
like,
people on the Far East
Like,
that
just
you'd
purely
think were,
based off the fact that it's so fucking big. Like, you have Siberia spanning all the way into Asia, into parts of West, and Moscow, which is going into parts of, like, damn near Western Europe. So, like, yeah.
But when you see Russians on TV compared to Russians in real life, when you see them on TV, they're the homogenation that like America would love to be. And yet when you go to Russia, it's the exact opposite. You'll meet 10 different cultures that are all just equally as Russian walking down the street.
Yeah.
But another example, those countries have risen and fallen, yet those cultures have stayed there for literally over, 2,000-3,000 years in some cases.
Yeah. Well, Russia is also really a country of immigrants. I mean, from Asia, a lot of cultures traveled, and then you have again a Scandinavian culture that named the country. So yeah.
Well, and like a lot of the Rus are, a lot of them are Viking descent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it's named after, right?
Yeah.
Viking enclave.
And they're all real proud of their Viking heritage as well. You can see it in a lot of the western side of Russia's culture. It's just interesting to see how fervently we fight over right now's borders as if they're somehow permanent and not really one of the most fluid things in our world. Our economies have lasted longer than most of those borders have. And it really, at the end of the day, it's an unnatural prospect is the problem, right? And like we always have, humans will move to where the caribou's at, where the good hunting's at, right? Where the good jobs are in this day and age, where you can take care of your family, where it's safe. The same reason you've always moved to good hunting grounds. So people are going to move to the places where it's hard, to the places where it's easy. That's really what all animals do. But making people stay in a nightmare, A, because we want to take advantage of them, or B, because we made a fake line on the map, is weird. It's something that only humanity does. Like, we don't even know what real freedom is, right? No other animal wakes up in the morning and worries which side of the border it's on. They're free. So wow, that was a real long answer to a real short question. Probably not the most popular opinions.
I'm just kind of fucking fading and have to get up early and call my friend that called during the
Those are all terrible
stream.
excuses. Those are all terrible excuses.
Well, we can call it a night. We have David McBride coming in.
Look, I want to go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we can call it a night. We have David McBride coming in like tonight, so.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
we
What time?
covered quite a bit.
I don't know what
mean,
time was
there's
his last time. I don't know.
There's so much
Okay.
going on in the news. I don't even know where to start sometimes. I'd urge everybody to follow the ABB. Or do we even have the ABB main page up anymore?
Yeah,
It's
it
your
is
page
up.
now.
It is up, but yeah, we don't really update it much. But we are going to do that soon because we're putting like this kind of like this YouTube kind of script on it. It puts like all the episodes on. So we have our own video platform in that sense for ABB episodes.
Oh, that'll be good. We've had some great shows. I worry. I urge everybody to share. If not this out, go to one of our pages and make sure to follow and share that stuff out so that we're getting information at. And I don't think any of us on here require you to agree with anything that we post. But if we do post something that you agree with, share it out.
Yeah. Mark, is David McBride at the same time as last week?
Exact same time, yeah.
Okay.
He always shows up at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
We're-
then give me a heads up because
I'll
I
have
can
to
always
dip out
I
for
like
like a
making
little
those
bit
flyers.
to. I'll probably have to dip out for a little bit to talk to Ford if he ends up making it. But yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
David McBride. He'll talk for like 17 hours if you want him to.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
deal.
he's a chatty guy, but it's okay because we love his voice.
No, just
Which
give me
sounds
a heads up
like
for
what,
these,
Glory
and
Jones?
I'll
It
make another flyer
sounds
for
like
them.
he fights mechanical space sharks with a flamethrower in his free time.
Hey,
Mechanical space sharks, and he's charging in with a big flamethrower, and it's like in space, and the shark is all like, like
you probably did a
swimming
meme
at
of
him,
that.
but through space, and he's
why
like coming
a
at
shark?
it with the flamethrower. Cause that's the picture
Australian.
Yeah, that's the picture that just came to my mind. I was thinking of like mechanical space sharks, like a combination of the Sharknado sharks and like the robot sharks that you have in like that one island in Pop Tropica, and
If I have a
that's-
flamethrower, I'm riding a T-Rex. That's just the way that it goes. Shark sounds cool, but I'm taking the flamethrower and the T-Rex.
Okay, hey,
I've chosen my fighter.
Steve, if you just in DM provide me with like the times you have that other guy on and stuff, maybe we can adjust the episode a bit.
Oh no, don't worry about that, man. I don't have 100% confirmation from Ford as to whether or not he can make the show. So we'll
I know he follows me.
plans are for suckers. Bloopers.
I mean, I think you probably have a better contact, but I know he follows me. I'll send him a, hey, what's up? Coming on the show?
Oh no, I mean I was DMing with him. He just wanted me to like email for confirmation, and I did. I just haven't heard back from him. So I'll
Probably really
holler at
busy,
him
that
in the
guy.
morning.
It's probably really busy.
It's also fucking what 2:30 in the morning in DC.
Yeah, it's 2:30.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
At any
Nah,
rate,
just start spamming his phone, man.
right.
2 a.m.,
Right.
3 a.m.
Don't tempt me.
Where you at, Ford?
That's why, unless I'm going to a
Slide
protest,
it.
I don't even carry. I buy a burner phone right before I go to the protest so I can live stream from it. I don't even keep one on me because otherwise that thing goes off every 15 minutes. Like, people know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why are you messaging me? But nah, every 15 minutes, 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't like taking my own phone to protest.
No, I
first place.
don't. I don't. I do this. I do the exact same thing every single time. I buy a burner, right? Set it up, like to live stream, and when I'm done, I give the phone away. And then they can chase. Normally, I try to give it to somebody that's traveling across the country. And then whoever's chasing and tracking my phone can go on a little bit of a trip. Where's he going now?
Okay.
But yeah.
So we have David McBride tomorrow, Dan, and for the rest, yeah, we have more guests coming the coming week, but we'll announce that later. Is there anything else you guys want to mention on air, or we cover everything?
Tomorrow, Jared Beck, maybe Ford Fisher. Got some stuff we're talking to Eva Bartlett about. That'll be coming up. Action for Assange will be in Washington, D.C., March 17th and March 18th as part of an International Day of Action and Awareness for Julian Assange.
10 days, guys. 10 days.
10 days. We're calling it Clovers for Assange. The Clovers for Assange hashtag got started last year by Lubers. And it's become a way for WikiLeaks supporters around the world to recognize each other. We're hoping to do that in real life with these events. So if you can come out, there's at least a dozen cities now, I think, that are having Clovers events. Candles for Assange on Twitter has all of them. But I know that, and if you can't make it to one of the events, man, throw your own. Get a hold of us either through the website at action4assange.com or hit me up on Twitter at Slow News Day Show, or hit up our co-host Misty at Sarcasm Stardust, and we're connecting Assange supporters wherever they may be, or at least trying to. And
I can't stress this enough, guys. You have to share this out. Like, if you see that there's somebody doing an Assange protest or candlelight vigil, or speaking engagements or videos that are out there, share them out. The more real information that we get out, the better. And your one view, your one share could push the algorithm up over the top for thousands of other people to see it. So I can't stress enough how important it is for us to use social media to get the word out. The corporate news has not covered Assange at all. Biden has taken something like 40 press conferences from their press team, and not a single journalist has mentioned Julian Assange, not one time. So we have to pick up the slack in that.
100%. Thank you. And on that, the Free Assange Vigil is heading into like the 90th consecutive week of doing news and updates and interviews with people connected to and covering this case from day one inside, and that's insane, by the way. It's
well, I mean, I don't think people realize how important, there's two parts to this equation. So there's the people that are doing the actual actions, and then an army of people getting the word out behind them. And that synergy, those two parts working together, is game changing. And that, there's times when I'll look at it, and I'm as connected as you can be, right, to these protests, and I'll look down and see, I didn't know that was going on in Sydney, and be able to share it, right? And it took that one person to push it over the top, or so that I saw it or somebody else saw it. We need you to be that person. When you see, right, people speaking out on Assange, use that opportunity to do one thing and click a button. But it's so powerful, right? Remember, they want to destroy the world with a click of the button, right? By pushing the button on the nukes. You can save the world. You can free Julian Assange. You can fight for freedom of the press by doing nothing but clicking one share button, one retweet button, one time. Like, that's asking so little, but it's so important.
That's true. It is. It is. And look, man, well, as far as I'm concerned, we only have a dwindling amount of time for free assembly, so it's more important than ever. We want to make sure a lot of people come out for this because coming up is April 11th. What is April 11th? It's 2 years since Julian Assange was illegally and violently dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy after U.S. puppet president of Ecuador, Lenin Moreno, sold him to the Five Eyes to put, metaphorically, his head on the spike as a warning for all journalists who dare cover the crimes of the powerful.
Yeah, like we can't give up on this, right? We can't, and it is a moment in that if they get away with this with Assange, it means we have such a hard fight ahead of us for freedom of the press to be able to just have free speech, to know what's going on. This sets probably one of the most dangerous precedents of our time. There's a reason why it's the First Amendment. It's that important. It's the first thing that the founding fathers wrote down. And they had a lot on their mind. And the first thing that they wrote down was the need for a free press.
And in this one case, what is at stake is whether or not the United States has international jurisdiction over the press, the future of investigative journalism going forward, source protection, the life of an innocent journalist and publisher who has been tortured and arbitrarily detained for a decade. What else? There's more. Simply receiving or sharing classified information will become punishable under the Espionage Act. Even privately, person to person, or through social media, even if it's a pre-existing classified document, let alone publishing it. Everything about this is unprecedented. The U.S. no country has ever sought to extradite under their own version of an espionage law a journalist or publisher. The Espionage Act in the United States has always been a political weapon, but at no point in our history has it ever been used against a journalist or publisher. This is uncharted fucking territory.
And what was published was so very needed. The world, right? Everyone had a right to know, has a right to know about the war crimes taken in our name. Those people were killed on our behalf. Their blood is on our hands. And the only reason that we know about it is because of people like Julian Assange, right? And they have to have a free avenue to post those things or we would never know. And they would be getting away with it even more. One of the reasons that it's so very hard for our governments to push these nightmare wars for profit is because people like Assange exposed what it really was, what was really going on. And people remember that and think of it. When they try to sell the next narrative, when they try to push you into war, you remember the war crimes that just happened, and the only reason we know about them is because of journalists like Julian Assange. And again, we just have to have that open avenue, classified or not. There has to be a way for the people to know about the war crimes that are happening in our name. And we cannot trust our government to do it at all. That's not even an option. You can't trust the people that are committing war crimes to expose those same war crimes. That's insanity.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why it's even more important to do what also Assange actually wanted, and that is that we all start spreading the actual truth, right? The WikiLeaks files published on WikiLeaks, the information that has never been retracted, which is all facts, right? 100% verified. There's nothing retracted, so it is safe to spread this information in the sense that you're not lying to anyone. You're
well, and it's not even, in some cases, it's not even that it hasn't been retracted. some of the information that's put out by WikiLeaks, a lot of the information has been used over and over again in other journalistic publications. They're using their information to write stories. I mean, I don't know what else is journalism when somebody are reporting on your story. Like, that's the definition, right?
Not only that, but WikiLeaks pioneered journalism in the internet era. Now, almost every single major outlet uses secure drop. There like so many things that WikiLeaks brought to the table, and so many things that they have done that are now just industry standards for everything from basic communication with sources and editors to like extended source protection, which again is what is being criminalized. And it's the CFAA charge. It's the same charge that Jeremy Hammond just did nearly 10 years for. It is a law that was written in the 80s after Congress watched a movie and got scared. And they're going to use it to criminalize journalism if we don't come together on this. And I want to stress real quick before we wrap that this is a post-partisan thing. There's no politics here. This is what happens before politics. Securing the ability to have accurate information that you can see, that you can digest, that isn't being sold or spun to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that in that, you know, this isn't a right thing, this isn't a left thing, this has absolutely nothing to do with your politics, which president you voted for, any of that crap. You don't even have to like Julian Assange. I know I get that a lot. Oh, I don't like his attitude, right? And that's fine, right? You can think he's a total jackass, right? I don't care. That has nothing to do with the journalistic freedom that is required for a healthy society. Like, literally, the first piece, the fabric of our society depends on people being able to get the truth from journalists. And that depends on people being able to come with them for information, for journalists to be able to protect their sources.
The society is only as free as its press, and right now, a Western society is imprisoning and torturing a journalist and publisher for printing verifiably accurate documents and protecting his sources to the absolute best of his ability.
Well, I mean, at this very moment, unfortunately, I do feel that we don't have a free press at all. We are denied that right. As long as Julian Assange is in prison, we no longer have a free press. I think that's something that has to be looked at realistically. When you look at the control over the media, when you look at over the last couple of weeks, the bombings in Syria, every single news media platform came out and said exactly what the State Department told them to. Word for word. No questions asked, just straight up raw propaganda. Right? When you look at the stories that are going on, the ones that they are showing and the ones that they aren't showing, it is obvious that we no longer have a free and open press. What we're fighting for now, right, is to bring back that right and hold on to it for good. This is what happens when you don't have a free press anymore. You get fluff stories and propaganda.
Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, like I said, we're back later today with David McBride, and
non-stop.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be back every week, so yeah, he's probably already prepared. He said he would make a new list of all kinds of things. So yeah, he's got a lot to tell. And like the first time I had him on, right, and he had like an interview. And he said he was not done yet. He said like we can do a part 2 after this. And I said like let's just do a second episode, right? And well, in the second episode, he said like I'll come back every week at the same day, and he also wants to invite people on in the future, and he was actually looking for a podcast.
I was playing that one in the background from the last interview, and the guy is just an endless source of information, just a huge asset.
Yeah, that's why it's crucial for us to have him on. He really appreciates Anonymous because it's practically a huge leaker and whistleblower collective, right? So for him, he appreciates a lot, and also that there is a lot of intelligent people involved. So it helps too. That's just not always. When he
you can't say that. You can't say that about very many organizations at the moment.
Yeah, I know. You get why it's hard, right? For like when someone explains all these things, and that you always have the feeling that people don't really understand you and whatever. So it's for him, it's very comforting that there's people listening who actually understand what it's about and who have been in situations like that.
Well, there's even times where, we'll be talking in here and everybody on the panel is so knowledgeable about the information, we'll blaze by a idea or topic, that we've all discussed and all know about, and then just keep walking, and I'll have to go back and be like, oh, well, for, if somebody doesn't know, this is what we were talking about. There was a message that we got the other day, and I think we had said, like the Gulf of Tonkin, and we just kept talking. And they had never, they're a little bit younger. They had never heard about it, and they're like, "What's the Gulf of Tonkin? You guys didn't talk about it at all. That seemed really important." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is." I read them a whole thing about, the history of it. But it's, both great about talking to people that are knowledgeable, but then when you're running a show, it can be hard because you don't always realize what the listeners do and don't know. And with us specifically, the topics can range so far. That can be a lot. There's times I sit back and I'm like, shit, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, but it also helps to explain certain things, right? When you compare false flag events, like that you do, for them it's new. They see like this event, and when you tell them this could be a false flag, they think like, no, government would never do that, right? So it kind of helps if you can refer to previous events where they actually did do that too. And it makes it far easier to have them at least be a little bit more skeptical or open to possibilities.
Well, it changes their perspective. With that specifically, when you do talk about false flags, there's immediate knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, no, the government would never do that. But then when you're all like, well, here's about the 1,000 times that they have done exactly that. I'm not saying that this one is a false flag. I'm saying our government does false flags, and that needs to be fixed. Right, and it does. People do come at it, and you do say, "Oh, my government could never do that," and you list off the times where, oh yeah, they were doing not only that, but even more evil shit.
Arguably, all of Western governments, or actually all governments probably around the world, are involved with such things. They do false flags. It's just part of it. Even like entire World War II was started over a false flag event, the Reichstag burning.
Well, and it's one of those, we've talked about it before. Something doesn't have to be fake to be used as an excuse, and that our government will take advantage or paint a picture of something to get our way. You can see a lot of the white hat engagements. They would come out with a whole media thing with the white hats, and were some of them false flags? Yeah, probably. Were a lot of them taking advantage of something that just happened? That happened a lot as well.
Yeah, and it's easier. You don't even have to plan things. You just see this opportunity and you take it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all sorts of games that are played in that world. But I mean, the fix to it should be pretty simple, right? Write a law that bans the government from using false flags. Done. Should be easy. It's kind of there's some of these issues that we fight about for decades and decades, and the fix is pretty easy. We know the government uses propaganda, right, to do really evil shit around the world. Ban the government from using propaganda. Done. You know that politicians constantly lie to you, right? Have a truth in politics law. If you know that you're lying and we can prove that you're lying to it, man, you got to step down. Let's get a fine. You get a fine for lying to the police. You should get a fine for lying to the American people.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You have to write it just in law that they automatically have to resign when they're caught lying.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Lying to your people, lying to your constituents, that's a big deal.
It's like, it doesn't even have to be a debate. Just if anyone can prove that one of them lied, they have to just instantly step down by law. Seems fair.
Yeah, if you were in a meeting, you know, that's different than being misinformed. That's different. I'm sure there'll be arguments about all of that shit. But if you were just a meeting and they said, look, Syria is at zero threat to the American...
You're cutting off, or it's me.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that you guys got. I cut out. But yeah, if you come out and your chief of staff or whatever tells you that Syria is no threat to American forces, and you come out and look into the camera and lie and say that Syria is 100% an imminent threat to American forces, you should have to step down. You shouldn't be able to just come out and just blatantly, you know, blasé lie to the American people. Lie to any of your constituents. And the easy fix to that is just to make a law. You cannot lie or you got to step down.
Yeah.
You look at us and say, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. You 100% know that's a lie. You got to step down. Flint's water is safe to drink. You got to step down. You got to step down.
Flint water situation is horrible, actually. I saw these pictures where there was like
Well,
brown water and
Jackson, Mississippi now is up there as well. And
We're gonna
it's
go
really
for like
boring.
another 4 hours.
Yeah, don't get me started on the water situation, guys. We'll be here for the next week.
We've got David McBride in like a handful of hours. And I have Glory and I have to be back on in this morning. Like,
All
shit,
right,
we'll
all
be
right,
back
all
on.
right. Let's
Yeah.
turn
We
the
get the
lights on and
point.
off.
You get the point. Okay, please share it
Turn the
around
last
if you're.
slow jam.
Please share this around if you were with us tonight. You know, guys know that's what we depend on. Shadow bans.
Remember to stay and neuter your pets and politicians.
Dun 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 dun.